Welcome into Sports Time on a Tuesday afternoon. Brian Brett with you. Darren Newsom producing for us. We're Sports Time, and we're with you for the next 3 hours. A lot to get into over these next 3 hours. But, Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well. We're getting ready for the pucks to drop, aren't we?
That's right.
Or puck to drop,
That's
a
right.
singular puck.
Only one puck in hockey. Yes, about 30 minutes away from the start of the hockey season.
You're cracking. Looking good,
right.
too.
That's a thank you. I've got the sweater on today. They'll start.
Is that new?
No, this is the one I've had for a while.
You had it last season?
I did. Okay. I've had this one for a while. But, yeah, so hockey starts this afternoon. I guess technically already started. They had 2 games in Prague over the weekend that counted for the regular season. But
they did?
Yes,
yeah. They had 2 over the weekend in Prague.
I would say this is the start of the hockey season today.
Well, and tonight, Stanley Cup will be out and on display as the champs hit the ice.
That's right. Panthers, they'll go on at about 6 o'clock.
I'm not in midseason form, my NHL
okay.
lingo. I'm working on it.
It's all right.
I'll get there.
But, hey, I mean, for anybody who wants to get to midseason form, triple header on ESPN today with all the hockey action.
The debut of the Utah Hockey Club.
That's right, yes.
They spent about 5 minutes thinking of that logo.
Well, temporary name. We'll see what.
Is it?
Yes, only this year they'll be the Utah Hockey
Club. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I owe an apology for the 5 minutes spent in Utah.
That's right, yes. So that's don't get your Utah Hockey Club gear because next year you'll have new gear that will not
quite a disparity in the history of the sweaters tonight with Blackhawks against the Hockey Club of Utah.
Yes, no, that will be that will definitely be interesting for sure. But I guess it should be fun.
I'm just now noticing Kraken open against the Blues.
That's right. Yes, that's correct. And I don't know anything about the Blues this year, so flying blind into game 1. We'll see.
That's a good description for me into the entire NHL this year. But we'll have when are we going to do our Stanley Cup picks at 5:30?
Yeah, probably do it 5:30. Make sure everybody's got them together.
And we just picked the finals. Trust me, people, we don't go through all the bracket scenarios.
Right. No, we just
we don't want to scare the audience like that.
No. That could get a little long, and I don't think any of us have the hockey knowledge to go that far into hockey talk. So
just give me this one. Just give me this hockey pick.
Okay.
Panthers were new to the Stanley Cup club last year. We had Vegas recently. Mm-hmm. St. Louis, Washington. Who could be that team this year? The long-awaited. They've never won it. They hoisted in June.
I have no idea. I have no clue. I mean, you're asking a very new hockey fan a question about the history of hockey. I have no clue.
Vancouver?
Sure. Why not?
Buffalo?
No.
Well, you rule Buffalo out.
Not going to put my money on Buffalo.
Columbus, did you see the big mural they've decorated the side of the building with?
Good, as they should.
Very nice.
Johnny Gaudreau. So I know that will be very somber. I don't know if they play tomorrow or the next day, their first game. But
I'm going to pick the Minnesota Wild as my breakthrough team.
All right, I can get behind
but that's not my official pick, though.
Sure.
It's just if we stayed with that.
I see.
One half of my Stanley Cup duo could be that.
It absolutely could be, and I know what half that is.
And the other one, very long suffering.
Yes. Hey, maybe.
My Leafs.
That's right, Brett. Your Leafs of
nothing says Maple Leaf fandom like me, Darren.
Oh man, just the Toronto oozes out of you, Brett.
You got the sweater last year, right?
I did, yeah.
Can't wait till you break it. Has Darian seen you in that?
I don't think so.
It'll be an all new.
Yeah, this might be Darian's first time seeing me in a sweater, if I'm not mistaken. But no. But yeah, the hockey today. I think we've spent enough time talking hockey until we get to our picks.
Maple Leafs win it a year from today. I wear my Maple Leaf sweater.
All right, I can get behind that. I like that. Why not get you a nice sweater for the.
I've never had any hockey logo stuff ever.
Interesting. I have a lot of it.
Almost bought a Brett Hull jersey.
Okay, that would have been cool. I'm a good. I like the jerseys. I'm a jersey.
I liked him with Dallas. I liked him with the Blues, but I didn't do it.
Yeah. Well,
looked at the price tag. Thought, no, better not.
Yeah, they can get very, very pricey. As well. But a lot of other news to get to today. We have at least a tentative start for the Tigers game in USF. It sounds like right now, at least, The plan is to move it to Saturday at 2:30, which still seems like a long shot to get that game in. We also have NFL news. Last night, Chiefs improved to 5-0. We were all very, very dumb to try to take New Orleans in that spot last night. And this morning, Robert Saleh gets the boot in New York. So very newsy day for us.
Didn't get it on the way home from the game in London, but got it today.
Yeah, got it this morning, and from all reports, completely blindsided, and security walked into his office this morning and said, all right, quickly pack up your things and let's get out of here, and didn't have time to say anything to the team or anything. It was just, hey, you're done, get out of here, which is just wild.
New York football Jets, clueless since Joe Namath left.
Yes, that is
that ought to be correct. The tagline around them.
Yes, it's great. I was shocked when I saw this morning that they had made that decision.
Were you? I wasn't, because it hadn't felt right the whole tenure. He hadn't shown any ability to have any offense.
But I just felt like if you were going to do it, you did it in the offseason. And at this point, you stick with it.
If you're firing October 8th, why didn't you do it when you had that available free agent? You had. Now, I know Bill Belichick hates the Jets, but don't you have to call?
Oh, Brett, you got to call everybody. I mean, and Bill Belichick is right there with everybody. I mean,
he was Jet coach for about 8 seconds.
Sure, that's exactly right. But, I mean, I was very surprised by it this morning, and, there was a lot of
That's how long they've been dysfunctional.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's been a while. It's been a really long time. Talk about suffering fan bases. Jets are right there, and then it felt like things were going well, and they're getting some of these young players. They have a nice season. Then they go into the offseason, get Aaron Rodgers and bring him in, and then before he can even step on the field, he gets hurt and is done for the season. And now a lot of people holding out hope that this could have been the year, and very clearly now that's not going to be the case.
What were we thinking last night with that group lock?
Brett, I said it. I said it felt like that spot where we all try to be smart and take New Orleans, and then
we did.
Kansas City just comes out and makes it look easy.
That was bad. Only group lock of the weekend. We're now 0-2 in NFL group locks.
Remind me that on Friday when we're making.
We hadn't had many. That was bad.
That was really bad.
Why discount Kansas City? Why would anyone do that?
Yeah, I mean it's a good question. I mean I don't know if I was more discounting Kansas City, but just trying to, thinking New Orleans could maybe keep it close, and that's on me.
And Kansas City right now it's a defensive team more than it is anything,
certainly.
Isn't it?
I mean the defense won the game last night. I mean what they did defensively, Derek Carr, who ultimately got injured at the end of the game, didn't finish the game, and it's now looking. I think he's getting an MRI today, but didn't look great. I mean, he was running for his life, just had guys in his face. It felt like every time he tried to make a pass.
When we did NFL predictions, I don't know that like Major League Baseball, we did one. We'll do one with NBA. I don't think we did likeliest first NFL coach to be fired. I don't
think so.
I think it would have been Mike McCarthy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably. I think so.
But to your shock argument, it wouldn't have been Robert Saleh. It wouldn't have been finally getting Aaron Rodgers back.
Certainly not. I don't think anybody would have had that. I think there would have been maybe a couple in there with Mike McCarthy that you could have gone with.
Maybe is Aaron Rodgers a coach killer?
Maybe Eberflus.
Eberflus came up.
Maybe.
We got to ask Bo that.
We do have to ask Bo that. Mine would have been Nick Sirianni. But hey, he's still.
Would it have?
He's still kicking with the Eagles. I mean, after what happened last year at the end of the season, I mean, it doesn't seem like anybody on that team likes him very much. So.
Brett, I have one word for our group lock, and can't use disappointing. Our group lock was pedestrian. That's what it was.
Pathetic.
He'll say pathetic.
That's kind of. We're going to banish the word disappointment.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Right. Don't want to
from the entire English language, not just sports lexicon.
That's right.
I'm so tired of people that are disappointed.
You're disappointed.
You're disappointed.
How about that?
No, I have contempt for them. Their disappointment.
Oh, I see. A little different, I guess. But no, I mean, Chiefs looked good. Defense led the way. Offensively, they were able to get Travis Kelce back involved, and I thought looked really good offensively as well. And probably should have won by more, but they had that interception late in the game, bounces off the hands and right into a D lineman's hands at the goal line.
Big man turned the corner and I thought was gone.
Oh man, I was hoping. I was praying.
Bumbling and rumbling
Let
and
him get there. Let just chaos happen behind him and that he just trips into the end zone. But
yeah,
not enough, I guess.
Not enough.
So, Kansas City, another year where people are doubting them, and 5-0 start. That's
baseball a little later start today than yesterday.
Yep. What 4:30 start, somewhere around there.
4:08.
Okay, so
I'm seeing.
So that should be. I mean, the playoffs have been fantastic for Major League Baseball. I mean,
they have been.
I don't think you could ask for anything more.
No sweeps in this round.
No, all 1-1 for the first time ever. So it's been fun, and we'll see with these two games today what happens, and if one team can separate themselves from the other, because you look at both of these first two games and they've been a lot of fun.
Nola versus Minai for the Phillies and Mets matchup. Bueller versus King, 8:08. Dodgers and Padres.
That's right. So
baseball ratings were good over the weekend. College football won, but it was not a pounding.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it, because we thought before the weekend, we were kind of nervous to see what the ratings would be for especially going up against college football and how big that is, and then Sunday against the NFL. So I'm good. I'm glad to hear that. Good ratings. That's
really good.
That's good. That's good. But no, I'm excited for both these games. Now in New York, they're going to be super excited it feels like it's been forever since the Mets have played a home game, and so now they'll be back there. And then this late night one has been already insane. Not even just the play on the field, but both these two teams going after each other. I felt like we knew this was going to happen, and so now going back to San Diego, excited to see what kind of environment we get there.
And speaking of, feels like forever since played a home game, how about played at all? Tonight in college football, Liberty hosts FIU. The last time Liberty played was September 21st.
Really? Wow.
Had the game canceled against App State the 28th and scheduled open date last weekend.
Wow. Okay. So Liberty, a lot of rest for them, or rust, whichever one.
Very well rested.
I guess so, but no, that will be fun. I mean, tonight's another one of those nights where you get a little bit of a lot, and college football on. You got
starts
Major
the
League
Tuesday
Baseball,
Wednesday package.
Yeah, so I'm excited. The football every single night. I don't think anybody's mad about. Get behind it for sure.
I don't mind it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So we know the Tigers aren't playing Friday night. It's now been moved to 1:30 Memphis time for Saturday.
2:30, I thought. Is it 1:30 or 2:30 Memphis time? I thought it was 3:30 in Tampa.
Is that right?
I believe so. I'll double check.
I could be wrong. We'll make sure. I could be wrong about that, but I don't see how in the world with what is headed toward Florida's way that gets played.
They just
Saturday,
2:30
Sunday,
Central, gentlemen.
Yeah,
2:30 Central. I'm sorry.
I don't think so. And I mean, the reporting this morning from Brett McMurphy said Sunday's a possibility that's still on the table as well. So I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens, and I guess see
if it's as predicted.
Afterwards. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any way this game's played. But
and how terrible for anyone, but especially you live in the best place on earth. I mean, the dream place to live 51 weeks a year. That 1 week a year, though, you got to really keep your eye on Jim Cantore.
Right.
And most of the time, while maybe some damage and bad, okay. I mean, it goes with the territory for that other 51 weeks of living, in the best place on earth. But this one, I mean, it would make you really.
Oh yeah.
Living this close to that big old ocean, is it really worth it?
No, you're absolutely right.
As someone, Brett, who was living there,
yeah.
there was a huge reason why I decided to come back home. I went through 2 hurricanes, and in both situations, they locked us inside the building because whether you know it or not, we were considered essential workers.
Sure.
So there was no going home or anything like that. But
that goes with that FCC
everyone.
license.
Yep, they banished everyone from the streets except for us. And I was like, I don't think this is life. So at least not from a Bluff City boy. So hey,
but you know, you live down there, and most of the time,
you're correct.
It might get bad, but it doesn't even get down to that. But you did get a propensity of it, and that would be enough for it. And
90% of the time it was gorgeous, but that 10%.
You see those houses, literally out over the water, and you think, well, just how great would it be, except for what they're going to have to go through the next 3 or 4 days, and after that.
Sure, and I mean,
then explain the hills of North Carolina.
Sure,
I mean, those people, I guarantee you, they never thought a hurricane would do them in like that.
That's right. It's crazy, and you look at a lot of the.
So it's inescapable.
Yeah, the projections for this one for Hurricane Milton do not look good at all, and so hopefully. We're not hoping for the worst and praying for the best, because it definitely could get really, really rough down there. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Matt Infield from Action News 5. He'll join us to talk some Tigers. We'll get his thoughts on the game change and what he's feeling about this week. And might also talk a little baseball with Matt Infield as well. I know Darren's been telling me that that has been the main topic of conversation between them at Action News 5.
Found out he's a huge Cardinal
How
fan.
about that?
I thought he was a Met fan,
I did too.
but of course,
I guess that was just me assuming, but that's what I thought as well. So we'll talk to Matt in our next segment at 3:30. 3:45, we'll talk some baseball, talk about everything that happened yesterday, and preview these two games later this afternoon. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville will join us to talk some college football. 4:30, we'll talk about what we know now from the weekend in college football and the NFL that we didn't know going into it. We'll do that at 4:30. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Beau Marchant will join us to talk the NFL. A ton to get to with him, and it all starts with the news, the Jets firing Robert Saleh, and we'll talk everything that happened this past weekend in the NFL. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's the world's biggest spa sale going on right now at Family Leisure. Save thousands on in-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. Spa starting at $28.99. Cold plunges starting at $39.99. Swim spas at $17,499. Special financing is available, and don't forget about the huge discounts on all in-stock above-ground pools too. And all patio furniture, it's priced to move. So head over to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
Our producer, Darian Newsom, he's Bryant, I'm Brett, and we are Sports Time, and we're with you until 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Always in our Family Leisure Studios. In this first hour, always brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and the remaining 24s. Always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. You can call them at 901-334-9673, but they want you stopping by the one and only Lexus dealership in town. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the news we got earlier this morning, a date and time change for Memphis versus USF. It kind of led the discussion yesterday about what will the American do with this game, with obviously Hurricane Milton continuing to build as it approaches the Tampa area. And, USF announced yesterday morning they were closing classes for the week, and that now, the city of Tampa has told everybody to get out now. Do not stay around because of how strong.
Leave or you will die.
Yes,
the mayor said.
It's plain and simple. And so it sounds like it's going to be a really, really bad hurricane. And so it drew the question, what will happen with the Tigers and USF game on Friday night, originally scheduled for Friday night. Well, now we know that at least for the time being, that game will be moved to Saturday afternoon, still in Tampa, scheduled right now for a 2:30 start between Memphis and South Florida. Brett McMurphy, the first I saw earlier today to report it from the national media, and also added that the idea of playing the game on Sunday is still up in the air if they can't do it on Saturday. With everything I've seen, maybe something changes. I don't know what, 15 hours really does, how much that's going to change, what's going on down there. It just feels right now it's going to be really, really tough to get that game in on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I'll be surprised. Yeah. We'll talk about that, and if they do get to the field, we'll talk about that in a few minutes with Matt Infield from Action News 5 on all things Tigers. My top story, 5 weeks of the 18-week NFL campaign in the history books. 2 teams undefeated, Kansas City and Minnesota. That was a matchup in Super Bowl IV. That was the day that Hank Stram literally changed the definition of a word, changed the definition of matriculate. Do y'all know what the definition of matriculate is?
Couldn't tell you.
Should have something to do with movement, right?
Right. Yeah. That's what Hank Stram moved it to. Sure. Matriculate means to enroll. Like when you enroll, I matriculated to the University of Arkansas.
Interesting.
That is the Webster's definition of it. Hank Stram changed the definition that day, Wired for Sound. People will fight you now that it has something to do with movement. It has nothing to do with movement. But he changed it that day. We've had one coach fired. We now have 0 winless teams. Jacksonville got in the win column. Why don't we appreciate Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes more? Come on now. If this was Brady or Peyton or Elway, we would be gushing about back-to-back champs, back-to-back Super Bowl MVPs, 3 total of both. 3 Super Bowl MVPs. Well, I know we gush over him, but do we make as much of him as we did those I just named? But let's long for the good old days of Brett Favre.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's. I don't know, Brett. It's weird. We always have those questions, and Kansas City always finds ways to win.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's got to be the NFL, as we're finally done with the week after last night's Monday night football game between the Chiefs and the Saints. The Chiefs improved to 5-0 despite all the questions, despite the talk about really anybody on that roster. Kelsey had gotten it for the first couple of weeks, and he looked really good last night. They got him more involved. The defense was awesome for the Chiefs, and they keep on winning. And then this morning, before anybody can even discuss last night's game, the news comes down from New York that Robert Saleh will no longer be the head coach for the Jets. I was really surprised about that news, and especially more surprised of how it came, of kind of blindsided him, did not let him discuss it with anybody or say his goodbyes to anybody. It was security, get to his office, let him pack his things and escort him out of the
steal their playbook?
Yeah, what's he gonna do? Gonna ruin the season? It was just very weird how all of this happened, and surprising to make this move when they made it. I guess we'll see now, what does this mean for the Jets the rest of the way? How do they look after this change? They fought in that game in London, but a little too late, and couldn't get the win. A struggling start to the season for them, and now an interim head coach. It's going to be a weird season for them.
My not top story is right there. Yeah, Woody Johnson, he's a horrible owner. Thank goodness he is part of the Johnson & Johnson baby powder fortune, or I don't know what else he could really run. Robert Saleh wasn't very good. Probably was going to be on the way out, but why do you fire him at this point? I don't know if he ever becomes a good NFL head coach. He gets hired immediately in the offseason to run somebody's defense going into the 2025 season. But look around the NFL, except for a couple, there are, of course, a couple. How many of those guys that if a college was sitting around and going, you know what, we really need to turn our program around, we need to hire Jonathan Gannon, or we need to hire the little guy at Miami, or you know what we need at USC football? We need Matt Eberflus. you know what we really need at Georgia football post Kirby is Nick Sirianni. I know it's a different science coaching NFL than it is from college. But there are a lot of these guys every week. Zach Taylor at Cincinnati. Do you think on a list of 100 people he'd be on the top 100 to replace Sam Pittman at Arkansas?
Probably not. No.
Probably not.
No. Probably not. It feels like two completely different sports. You're right.
It does. I know it's handled differently, and handling grown men. A lot of times you're scared to hire that college guy.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right. But definitely the big news today of Robert Saleh out with the Jets. That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we come back, we'll talk a whole lot of Tigers with Matt Infield.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and the biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab King's is number one. So don't be disappointed in seafood. Make the right choice the first time and every time. Make it Crab King's. Crab King's have only locally grown catfish. Come and devour tasty snow crabs, king crab, shrimp, salmon, catfish, calamari, and so much more. Enjoy Memphis's best tasting pasta with your choice of toppings. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. Crab King's is open Wednesday through Sunday. Enjoy 50% off lunch portions and dollar fountain drinks. The number one name in Cajun seafood is Crab King's Seafood, a Memphis favorite. Crab King, 7140 Stage Road. Kings with the Z.
To understand what makes Genesis Diamonds so different than other jewelry stores, you have to go back over 40 years to the diamond cutting capital of Tel Aviv, Israel. That's where Genesis owner Boaz Ramon grew up, in the center of the diamond universe. His connections with the best diamond cutters allowed him special access, giving rise to a thriving wholesale business here in the United States. Then, after a few years, this wholesaler changed the game and started selling these precious diamonds direct to the public at the same prices he had sold to the jewelry stores. The no middleman concept became an instant success. Today, Genesis Diamonds provides that extraordinary value to people right here in Middle Tennessee, leading the industry with the highest quality diamonds that still come straight from the best cutters, offered at the guaranteed best price of any jewelry store in America. Genesis Diamonds, a truly revolutionary concept with a unique history rooted in quality, committed to excellence, and always focused on value. Genesis Diamonds, luxury premium Rolexes, and popular Perkins Extended.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 1-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Jason's Deli. When you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking the bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials Jason's Deli, locations at Ridgeway and Parkway Center, Upper Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli, it's wholesome food and no surprises.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. An easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports with Presents and 95 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack Sportsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk some Tigers, Matt Infield from Action News 5 joins us now. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. I want to start off with some Tiger football. Coming off the off week, Tigers originally scheduled to head down to Tampa and play USF Friday night. Now that game, at least for right now, has been moved to Saturday afternoon at 2:30. What do you make of the way this has been handled and the decision to try to move it back to Saturday to, I guess, try to get the game in at some point?
Yeah, I'll be honest. If this storm is as bad as everyone predicts it's going to be, I don't really think moving it back 24 hours is going to do much of anything at all. I don't think that there's any way that the game gets played in Tampa if the current forecast holds steady. I will say, obviously, I went to USF. I lived in Tampa for 6 years, and Tampa has been hit by a major hurricane somehow, some way in over 100 years. But it's been well known and talked about that the day that a major hurricane hit Tampa directly, it would be catastrophic just because of the location right on the water, the position of the bay and whatnot. So, I've seen some storm tracks lately that maybe it's shifting a little bit further south, which in theory would be better for Tampa, maybe would be quite as damaging, but still, I think we're looking at, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just basing this off what other professionals are saying. But I think we're looking at a really catastrophic storm that's going to hit that region. And I don't see any way that if that holds true that they play that game on Saturday. So I imagine there will be another change at some point this week. I have seen that Sunday's been floated out there. Again, I don't know that 48 hours makes a big difference if the damage is as bad as predicted. So I don't know if it gets moved to a neutral site. I don't know if it gets moved here this weekend. Just something tells me that, that game is not going to be played anywhere near Tampa this weekend. And, obviously a college football game is very far down the list of priorities when it comes to what's about to happen to that region.
Well, that's right, Matt. And I saw the Florida governor, he was telling the story of he asked a hurricane expert, the go-to source for the worst case scenario. This was years ago for the state of Florida. And he said he described what is about to unfold for that area, for this speed.
I think Marco Rubio, tweeted that. I did see that. So, yeah, that tells you that.
You're right. It was Senator Rubio, not the governor. That's correct, Matt. Thank you.
But, yeah, it's just, and for me personally, obviously, like I said, I've got a ton of friends down there. And I'll tell you from experience, Floridians are very stubborn with hurricanes, and most of them don't leave and ride it out, and usually they somehow make it through okay, or at least my friends have. But even a lot of people I know in the Tampa area that are stubborn and generally stay during hurricanes, they're getting out of here for this one. So that's kind of an indication that they know it's about to be really bad.
Has it been hurricane fatigue, or have they just gotten lucky and hadn't had, Katrina or even, Helene?
So in my 6 years there, the only time that there was any sort of fear like this that I can remember. So, one, to answer your question, I think it's been more luck. But I remember, I think it was 2017. I was still living there when Hurricane Irma was supposed to take direct aim at Tampa. And I got out of there. I was living with a friend at the time who had family about an hour and 15 minutes north and a little bit inland. So we rode at the storm up there. And luckily that storm, it did kind of a right turn after it clipped like Fort Myers and Naples and basically went up the center of the state more towards like the Orlando area, and Tampa was kind of spared a little bit. But I remember the talk around that storm, and the way they're discussing Milton and how catastrophic it's going to be is way worse than the way they were discussing Irma. So I think it's been a lot of luck. I think that they've gotten fortunate with a lot of storms that haven't been this bad, but I think that reality is about to hit, unfortunately.
Yeah. When you look at the Tigers coming out of their off week, whether it's the game this weekend against USF or down the road, what is something you want to see from this team that maybe you didn't see through the first couple of games of the season?
Yeah, I think we've hit on it a couple times on here. I've asked about it, but really I want to see more explosive plays in the passing game, specifically to Rock Taylor and Demir Blankenstein, because those guys are both big play threats at different positions. Rock is your big body outside X receiver that can make plays downfield. Demir, kind of more of like a speed slot flanker guy, but, you get him in the open field running. He's really dangerous too. And, I talked with Tim Cranzi on our bye week edition of the Ryan Silverfield show, and I asked him about it, and he said, they're playing clean football right now. They're efficient on third downs. They're not turning it over much. So he's fine with that. And a lot of it, honestly, has to do with the way that defenses are playing them. They're playing a lot of too high looks and taking away the explosive plays at any cost. Because, think about it. If you're game playing for the Tigers, you're probably figuring out first and foremost, how do you stop Seth Hennigan and getting his weapons activated? And two biggest weapons in the pass game that comes to mind are Rock Taylor and Demir Blankenstein. So I think that's why you've seen a lot more distribution in the pass game to the running backs and the tight ends. Now, the counter to that is they've been running the ball pretty well, and that's without two of their top four running backs. So at a certain point, if they keep running it like this, I think that that's going to force defenses to play a little bit lower in the box, and then in theory, that should open up some more shots downfield. But I would like to see, Rock had a nice game against Middle Tennessee State. Demir's been quiet so far. I don't think that's going to last a long time. But that's probably the number one thing that comes to mind, because if they can generate some more explosives in the pass game, then all of a sudden, I think this team kind of rounds into the form that we all think that they can reach at their peak.
Matt, you used both words in your great answer, shots and explosiveness. And it's been kind of just a bite at a time for the Tiger offense, especially going downfield with the ball by Seth Hennigan. Is it protection? Has he just not had enough time for the it's not 7 steps because he's already back there in the shotgun, but to really get comfortable and get that right foot planted?
I think the protection, I'm not an offensive line expert, but from the eye test, I think the protection has been fine. I think that, honestly, what goes into it as well is the defense, other than the Navy game, has played well enough to where I think they felt like they could kind of methodically drive down the field on teams, and they don't feel the need to take shots downfield, because if you can pick up whatever it is, you can pick up 6-yard runs, and you can pick up 11 yards on a pass, and you can just march down the field. And if you're playing clean and not turning it over and not racking up a bunch of penalties, then that works. In theory, you have a bunch of time, you score anyways, that's fine. I think the problem that they could run into is if they play a team like they did in Navy that was ripping off more explosive plays than them and ripping off the big touchdowns and whatnot, then all of a sudden you kind of get into a mode where you have to dial those up. So I want to see a little more of it just to know it's there, because it hasn't really been there yet. And again, like I said, when defenses are playing two deep safeties and coverage that indicates that they're not going to let you throw over their heads, you kind of have to take some of the underneath stuff and what's in front of you. But I would like to see them scheme up a little more of the explosives in the pass game, just because I think at some point in the conference schedule they will need it.
Yeah. Switching gears a little bit, basketball season right around the corner. I guess a week from today will be the exhibition game against North Carolina for Penny Hardaway's team, and for the women's team, they'll face South Carolina that same night. What do you think about this roster that Penny Hardaway has put together for the season?
I haven't seen it in person yet. I actually wasn't able to make it down to the blue and gray showcase on Friday because I was doing high school football. Yeah. But I think it's solid. I think the pieces fit pretty well. I think that they have options basically everywhere: backcourt, scorers, rebounders, defenders down low. I think it's pretty well rounded. On paper, you look at it with the same level of high-end talent as last year's group. Probably not, but as we saw last year, the talent is only a part of it. And, Petty's talked about how this team has much more of a defensive identity, which is what he wants, and, kind of like the foundational piece of what he wants all this team to start with. And, they've talked about that they're closer off the court this year than they were last. Or at least Nick Jourdain, the one returning player, said that, which I'm not saying I don't believe him. I feel like I've heard things like that last year, and obviously it didn't translate to the on-court product. So we'll see. But I think that there's not really an obvious alpha right now. I think that there are some guys that could become that. But again, I think if you just have a solid rotation and guys that are willing to play on both ends, I think that might be all they need after last year. And he said that he's keeping a roster spot open, which is interesting. I'm not sure they're going to fetch another Naquan Tomlin caliber player like they did last year, but yeah, I think that it looks solid on paper. It's not overwhelming in talent, but we got to see after last year. There's at least a little bit of doubt that I think they have to prove wrong.
Matt, that healthy skepticism you have, I think it's warranted because we hear so much at this point of the year. We've heard it every year that the chemistry and the team building, I mean, it's just the best anybody's ever seen. And almost immediately, even before Christmas holidays, almost we hear and we see stories of disunity on that team. A week from tonight is against North Carolina. It's a game that won't count, but it will matter, especially if the Tigers show that they can stay on the court with North Carolina.
Yeah, obviously, this is about as good of a probably. It might be the best test they get the entire season. Honestly, I don't think that's out of the question. Obviously, playing Alabama at Huntsville is going to be really tough as well. But I think it's almost kind of the perfect way to see what you're made of right away. It's a game that doesn't count on the schedule. It doesn't count for rankings. Any of the metrics or anything like that. But like you said, if they go out there and they can play with them or if they can beat them, I think it's going to give them a pretty nice confidence boost right away, especially considering it's going to be their first time together with this group playing against another team, especially a team of that caliber. So I'm not going to put all my eggs into what I see next week, but if it looks good right away, that's definitely a promising sign.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, last thing for you. Darian's been telling me baseball's been the hot topic at the TV station. What have you been making of these playoffs?
Man, it's been awesome. So, yeah, we'll have to talk. You guys are Cardinals fans, right?
That's right.
I think we'll have to talk Cardinals at some point because there's a lot to dive into there. But, man, it's been incredible so far. I mean, sure I was just thinking about it yesterday. Just, last Monday, it seems like an eternity ago was the Mets-Braves doubleheader to get in. It was essentially two playoff games for both of them, but with the Lindor home run, the ninth inning, and all of that. And that feels like ages ago with all the crazy finishes we've had, and now every division series is tied at a game apiece. So yeah, it's been awesome, man. I said the theater and dramatics of October baseball is to me unmatched compared to any other sport. So
agree. We knew we liked you, Matt.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that we're on the same page with this.
Yeah, no, it's really hard to beat. But, Matt, always fun catching up with you, and we'll do this again next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. Have a good week. Matt Infield with us every Tuesday talking the Tigers. And, Brian, this is not anybody's fault. And the Navy game, took some wind out.
Sure.
But think about this. So if this game against USF, it may not happen.
Sure.
So the last time everybody was kind of charged up, like it was all summer and into the season, and especially after the FSU game, we're really going to move on from that then Tiger basketball next Tuesday night. We hope that's a good display.
Yeah.
It'd be almost like we're putting Tiger football kind of on airplane mode on our phone.
Yeah, no, it will, and it's like you said, there's a lot of factors to it, but it's
North Texas and Charlotte seem a little sleepy.
Sure, and so you're right. I think you're going to get to that point, and certainly with basketball season starting, that doesn't help. And
How'd that happen?
Year flies by, Brett.
It does.
I mean, we're already to the 8th of October. It's crazy.
And performance, and the Navy game rocked us all.
It definitely did. And now, you have the off week, and then if this weekend doesn't happen, and, depending on what happens next Tuesday against North Carolina in basketball, I mean, we could be talking about very different things for sure.
Fandom moves on.
It absolutely does. But let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we come back, we'll talk some Major League Baseball.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Getaway Sports is kept secret in town. Open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garden Media Creators, SEC NFL Dream Park over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Come up on 6 pool tables. Moses Beer and Taylor. Pool swing and get you some water. Chicken tenders. Daily happy hour running through 5 to 6 p.m. on Radio 1625. Getaway Sports 14632 Winchester.
Join us celebrating 26 years of Napa Cafe. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations, fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. I'd sure love to see you.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stacks Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Times. We got a couple minutes left in this first hour. Going to talk some Major League Baseball. Yesterday, two really good games. We talked a lot about the Tigers and the Guardians, and that game ended while we were still on the air. 3-0 win. Kerry Carpenter with the 3-run home run in the top of the ninth inning. But last night, Royals, they get a 4-2 win over the Yankees. A game where the Yankees offense really struggled. Kansas City puts up 4 runs in the 4th inning. That's all they needed to even up that series, 1 apiece. And it looks like now, I mean, we already mentioned it, every series at 1-1 right now. So a lot of really intriguing baseball going on.
And that's all the visiting teams in game one. That's all they wanted out of those first 2 games. Get a split, get home, hope for the sweep at home, and that would move them along to the LCS.
Yeah, no, it absolutely would. And so it's a great start for all of these road teams, and we'll see if they can keep it up when they move back home. We'll see 2 of those teams at home tonight with the Mets and the Padres and see what they can do. I mean, you got to imagine both those places are going to be rocking tonight, hosting, and especially in the spot there are to be hosting these type of playoff games.
The Royals, like the Padres, I don't think Detroit can think this as much because they got blasted in game 1.
Sure.
But they really are thinking we should be up 2-0.
Definitely. I mean, I think both those teams.
No fear factor.
No, both San Diego and Kansas City have played really, really well. We talked a lot about the their first game against the Yankees yesterday, where 6-5, a back and forth game, really close. And so I think there should be a lot of confidence with both the Royals and the Padres.
And the pitching matchup tonight, the Padres have the better starter.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right about that, and hopefully that could maybe give him over the hump. I mean, Michael King has, he's been really good this year, and on the other side, Walker Buehler. He hasn't been. He's dealt with a couple injuries this year, and so
the watch theft.
Well, yes, I learned about that earlier today. I had no idea about it. Good. I guess not good for him, but, watch collector. How about that? I guess when you got that type of money, you can collect things.
Yes, you can.
Expensive watches is
Vandy's very own Walker Buehler.
That's right. So, we'll see what he can give them tonight, but you're right. He has just not been very good this season, a 5.38 ERA. And we'll see what this offense looks like for the Dodgers. Some of those guys have kind of struggled here through the first 2 games. We'll see if, maybe they can pick it up in what's going to be a tough road environment.
I know you got all eyes on the Kraken. Yeah. I was watching earlier. I'm now watching the baseball pregame show on FS1. Boy, and you talking about a set of winners on that set. Yeah. Jeter, Poppy, and A-Rod.
It's a good group. We were talking about that. What was it, yesterday?
Yeah. Because they don't hold punches. I mean, they are asking tough guys tough questions.
Yeah.
Net worth. $800 million?
Sure.
Easy on the low end.
I mean, they've all been there before, so I mean, they know what to ask.
And Kevin Burkhardt on that day is really good.
He is really good, and it's a really good team. And when you talk about,
well, he better make them pay if they go out to eat.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He is definitely not picking up the bill. You alternate between those other guys and let him just be along for the ride. Why not?
I really enjoy Poppy and just what he did in 2013 with the Red Sox against the Cardinals. He could have gone up there with a tennis racket, got hit.
I mean, he was an unbelievable player. And
Brett, what's the total number?
It's crazy.
Brett, what's the total number of rings on that set between those 3?
Geez.
Well, that's a great one. Well, Poppy had 3 with the Sox, or 4. Was he part of every one of them?
Yeah, he was always in Boston, right? Correct, yeah.
So 4.
Jeter,
A-Rod 3, Jeter 8.
Jeez,
Jeter has
something
8?
like that.
Ooh, let me look.
It's a lot of rings.
6 or 8.
That's a lot of rings between those guys. I mean, they're the best. I mean, it's a good group.
Went at each other, pretty good too.
No, I absolutely did. And so you're right. I mean, that one.
Jeter 5 times World Series champion.
Okay.
How many for Pop? I know Poppy was. It's got to be 4.
Yeah. That's a good question. That was a great question.
3 in 2004, 7, and 13 for Poppy.
4. Okay, so he wasn't there. Not 19.
Yeah.
18 when Boston had the great record.
That's right.
A-Rod would be the fewest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like A-Rod only has Uno.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's a lot of rings still, though. I mean, let's get him out.
I bet they remind A-Rod of that, too.
Oh, for sure.
He has to go into the MVP chamber, though, right? I was an MVP more
Look
than
at
you
the
guys.
MVPs.
Yeah, I was MVP. I was better than you guys.
MVPs of the league, MVPs of the World Series.
Yeah, I'm sure those arguments are,
that's
are great.
That's a loaded announce team.
Hey, no, it 100% is.
I mean, move A-Rod back to third, put Jeter at short and Poppy at first, and might be better than the Cardinals infield last year.
You got yourself a team right there,
Yeah.
Brett.
Burkhardt could be the manager.
Wow.
And if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Pedro join them sometimes as well?
It sometimes does.
Okay, so
he's great.
Pedro. Yeah,
When he
Pedro's
comes in.
good. Pedro's very good.
So you got a little bit of everybody. All right, Brett, what do you think happens tonight with these two games?
I think Padres win.
Okay.
And I think Mets win.
Wow.
Both home teams.
I'm with. I think they win big.
You win tonight. Advantage you. You broke and serve.
100%.
You broke serve getting the split.
You definitely did. And so now you can take full advantage of it at home, and certainly winning tonight for both
I've
these
talked
teams
hockey and
would,
tennis today. Frightening.
I mean, it is all in the first hour, Brett, no less. I mean,
I need to stop.
Not only have you talked about those sports, you've talked about them in the first hour. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a record somewhere.
Brian, where are
What's
you with
next,
the wins and
soccer?
losses? Where are you at with the wins and losses tonight?
I don't know. I mean, I think if I had to go,
Make a pick.
I go both home teams big.
I'll go.
Even though I didn't pick the Padres.
I'll go Phillies and Padres. How about that?
That disdain. There's the disdain
No,
for
I
the
don't think it's disdain. I just think I think Phillies are a good team, and I don't know if I trust Sean Manaea in the spot.
Mets being introduced out to the line. Boy, they look good, and they're home pinstripes.
Yeah, that one's about to start here. A couple minutes.
Yeah.
How about that? 4:08. I'll have to get her on one of these screens in here. So we'll definitely keep you updated on.
Boy,
all
we got
of
the screens
baseball
going,
as well.
don't we?
We certainly do. You got to on a day like this. Let's go ahead and wrap up the first hour and get to a break. And when we come back, talking some college football with Brent Beard.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday is happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft beers, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Then enjoy Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square, Highway 70. Fall is football.
Every once in a while, a new concept comes on the scene and really upsets the old school apple carts. Well, that's exactly what Genesis Diamonds has done here in Memphis. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and Genesis Diamonds is a fresh, exciting, revolutionary kind of jewelry store that has forever changed the jewelry landscape here in Memphis. Fall is just around the corner. What better time to make that big purchase than right now at Genesis Diamonds? With up to 30 times what you find at other stores in selection, no middleman prices that we've never seen here before, with natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes, Genesis has something for everyone. Plus, free service for life on any purchase and a 120% diamond upgrade guarantee that no other store would dare to offer. Genesis has turned the old school jewelry retail model upside down with lower margins, higher volume, no tricky pricing, no pressure, and no middleman. Get to Genesis Diamonds today and get that diamond purchase taken care of. This is the value leader, and nobody can challenge them here. Check out Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended. Genesis Diamonds, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 901-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with a Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Trying to move a little bit better out there from that earlier wreck we had on 40 westbound at Canada Road. Traffic's already cranking up at times 240 getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. It's gotten busier in the Midtown area on 240 southbound here at South Parkway. If you'd like to help out the recent hurricane victims, make a donation right now to the American Red Cross. Log on to their website at redcross.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Sports Time on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Car Wash, residential and commercial pressure washing service you trust. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacre.
Brent Beard joins us now from First Coast News in Jacksonville to talk some college football. Whole lot of interesting results last week that we got to discuss. Brent, thanks so much for joining us. I want to start off with probably the biggest upset, one of the biggest upsets in maybe college football history. Alabama taking the loss on the road against Vanderbilt. What did you see from both sides, from Vanderbilt to pull off that upset, and then on the other side, Alabama going from 1 week beating Georgia to the next week losing on the road to Vanderbilt?
It was a perfect storm to have an upset, to be on top of the mountain, and then to hear how good you are and how great you are, and how far you're going into the playoffs, and just taking Vanderbilt, frankly, for granted, were huge mistakes. It was Vanderbilt. Their strategy, frankly, was very simple, but it was very effective in that. I mean, they basically ran a triple option. They inverted the wishbone at times. They used a shuttle pass. They would do basically your RPO stuff from it. They held their gap assignments. Alabama did not. And the thing that really helped Vanderbilt was getting ahead early, and Alabama having to chase 2 touchdowns. Really a poor performance on the part of Bama's defense. They did not stay in their assignments. They tried to trust their eyes instead of what they were told to do. That never works, frankly. So, and you had a Stephen Garcia, Johnny Manziel moment for Diego, who is one of the most exciting, interesting quarterbacks that we've had in the league, and it's a real shame he's only going to be there this year, and that will be it.
Yeah, and Brent, where does it rank historically? I said it was the biggest upset ever in the SEC. I won't even entertain any discussion, but with college football, where does it rank?
Well, I think a lot of that is going to. I think the jury's still out on that, because I think if Vandy goes to a bowl game and they've got a 6-6, 7-5, I think that's one way to look at it. I mean, if they don't win another game, you could look at it in another way. But I mean, it will be. I mean, there's no doubt that people will certainly call attention to it. I mean, the reality of it is, because when you compare the two rosters, there's just no comparison. into what they are. But
I don't need the end of the year to see that, do I?
That doesn't always mean that you're going to win because you have the better roster.
No, Vandy goes on and wins out and in the college football playoff. I don't think anybody would trade rosters.
Well, what they've done, and Clark Lee deserves a lot of credit for how that team was prepared and how they. I mean, it's not a real complicated what they do, but they do it well. And I mean, they really reminded me of a Army, Navy, or Air Force in their better years and what that they were able to accomplish.
That's a good comparison. It's amazing already this year. It happened on week 0 when FSU lost to Georgia Tech, and now it played out. But it even happened with Virginia Tech losing to Vanderbilt. It happened with Ole Miss losing to Kentucky. It sure happened Saturday after Alabama lost to Vandy. All those teams that were so highly thought of preseason, after just one loss, how quick we are to think there might be 2 or 3 more losses in them. Do you think there are 2 or 3 more losses in Alabama?
I don't think there are 2 or 3. I think there certainly could be another one. I mean, I could certainly see them 10-2, and that could be. Well, my stars in this day and age, you just don't know. I mean, it could be Tennessee, it could be LSU, or Oklahoma and Norman.
Biggest a rival game. Throw the record books out.
But I think the thing that look, I love it because the playoffs are expanded and have wanted that for quite some time. But the other reality is, I really do wonder some of the mentality now that we've got of players knowing that. Well, I'm not going to say it's an NFL mentality yet, but it's we could lose 2, making him lose 3, and still get in. So I'm going to be interested to see as we track that throughout the year. The mental approach these teams, what they take throughout that time too.
Mm-hmm. Well, you look at the rest of the schedule for Vanderbilt. I mean, do you think this Vanderbilt team can kind of keep things rolling and make a bowl game this year?
Oh yeah, I think that's possible. I mean, it's not going to be easy for them, but I think it's obvious when you've got a. I don't want to. I'm not saying Diego is a generational guy like a Tim Tebow would be, but this guy is extremely confident. He's a tremendous leader. Great. I mean, he if you want a good illustration of a quarterback who could really raise the level of everybody around him. That's one of the guys who could do it, and that's why he's going to be memorable throughout this time. And frankly, they should be undefeated.
Sure
at
should.
This point too.
Sure could.
So, but and particularly where the Georgia State thing came from, it just right now, who knows?
Well, the Georgia State thing, I think, came from, and I said this that Monday afterwards, Brian, I said, Vandy, please quit being Vandy in these close games. Now, with the value of hindsight, you can say that about the overtime loss at Mizzou.
Yeah, and that's another one they frankly should have won. Their kicker missed, a 30-something yard field goal that he would probably make in his sleep.
Yeah.
How has it gone over in Alabama with Kalen DeBoer with the first loss? He was going to lose the first one somewhere, but nobody could have imagined in Nashville to Vandy.
No, I think I think the thing that has drawn the most anger is him not doing anything with Malachi Moore, number 13, who kicked the ball at the end of the game and just really was acting childishly. But I mean, the reality is, you go from being able to beat Georgia, and then but that's the league. I mean, that's where the league is. I've said this for years, and it is really apropos for this year. The strength of this league is not so much sometimes in the upper echelon. To me, the strength of this league has always been the middle of the league, where those teams, and it's really not a cliche, that they can win at any time, and we've seen that.
Yeah. We've seen it the last 2 weeks. Kentucky, 16-point underdog, beats Ole Miss in Oxford, and then Arkansas, a heavy underdog at home, but at home they upset Tennessee. And Mizzou, they get ran off the field at Kyle Field. I thought there were 3 teams preseason that had about as conducive of schedule as you can have. Yes. Mizzou, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Now all 3 of them have a loss.
Well, and I wonder, Brett and Bryant, about the September schedule that they all played. I know they got wins with that. I know they were able to work some of the bugs out. But I also wonder, did that hurt them when they started playing better competition? And I would say I think it did Tennessee in the way that they played with Arkansas. And look, Arkansas is another reality that Arkansas could be undefeated.
Sure,
frankly,
could be.
Could have beat A&M.
Should have beat Oklahoma State.
It could have beat Oklahoma State. Should have beat Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm. A lot of shouldas and couldas around the SEC. That's not normally the talk around the SEC. It's pretty matter of fact instead of, because I think shoulda, coulda is the talk of excuse making.
But I think it is. But I think but I think for some of these teams in Arkansas, and it tells us how far they've come in some ways too. And instead of, I mean, they could easily be 2-4 right now or something of that nature, 1-5. But instead, that's a team that's really remade themselves right now. And very well look to be going to a bowl game and saving Sam Pittman's job, which is amazing.
And how the complexion of the year can change. I had Arkansas 4-2 after 6. I had a win at Oklahoma State and a loss at Auburn. I got the Tennessee game right preseason. I just had a feeling, and I got lucky on it. Preseason picks. How they come and go. But now the next 6 games after an open date for Arkansas and one more open date to come, it doesn't look quite as imposing as it did in the preseason. LSU at home, at Starkville, Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss hadn't won there since 2008. Open date before Texas home. Biggest game for any Razorback fan will be that weekend. Then Louisiana Tech, and then to Mizzou. And Mizzou at that time, how are they looking, and what's the dynamic around Eli Drinkwitz around that game? So Arkansas's fortunes have really changed.
Well, they really have, and again, Bobby Petrino has done a great work with them. But the thing that they really had to do was their defense has changed. I mean, they're allowing 16 points a game, and they forced 5 turnovers, and which is a real credit to them. That goes beyond just Taylor Green at quarterback playing well. In that offense playing well. I mean, you put those two things together, now with a week off, Arkansas is a whole lot more of a force than they were a few months ago.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville. Going over to the ACC, Miami still undefeated. They needed a massive comeback late in the game against California to win the game. And now when you look at this Miami team, back-to-back weeks where they've needed comebacks to secure victories, how do you view this Miami team? Is this a really good Miami team that just you have to have wins like this, or is this a Miami team that's kind of starting to struggle?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, Cam Ward has made them into a potential playoff team. Mm-hmm. Now they've got Louisville next week, so that will be interesting. But my Stars, they were behind 25 points with only 23 minutes left in the game, and really were able to come back. I tell you what, give that Cal team a lot of credit. They could, for joining the ACC, should have beat FSU, did beat Auburn, but Miami. Xavier Respro's a good wide receiver. The Martinez kid who transferred in at running back has really helped them. Now, look, there are a lot of ACC fans who think the officials in the ACC office has helped them as much as anybody else. But they have had an amazing year. And I'm not going to say they use back until they actually are. And then you've got a Florida State team that we follow, too, that had just been abysmal. They finally put DJU on the bench where he needed to go, or maybe the injury and the broken hand did. And Florida State's off this week. They're playing their freshmen and sophomores, which they really have got to do at this point too. And I'll tell you real quick, I'd love to see a show of hands on the interstate who thought Pitt would be undefeated right now in the job that former Alabama quarterback Eli Holstein has done for that bunch.
Yeah, and remember last year in season, Pat Narduzzi at Pitt blasted his team and said, "We got a bunch of losers here, and I'm going to replace them all in off season." It made a lot of people mad at him, but he was telling the truth. And I know that language is a little tougher for college players, but I think with NIL and with how we're treating rosters now, a coach go out there and blast his roster. If he's telling the truth, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, he is. And Narduzzi's that's just his personality in it, guys. He's just gonna he's just going to do that. And can we say too that quietly maybe that after that awful second half against Georgia, that Dabo and his boys have come up and are playing better at this point too. So we cover that league. I know a lot of our folks may not be interested in them, but it is fascinating in a lot of ways to see where they're going, especially when you've got an SMU team that's playing well. But look, they're projecting who's going to win that ACC. At this point, that's impossible to do.
It would be one of the upsets of the year if the ACC or the Big 12 got two bids.
It would be, wouldn't it? Oh yeah. There's no doubt about that.
And that would come straight out of the SEC's pocket.
Yeah, it would. There's no question about that. Miami at this point would be one of them, and who would the other one be? We mentioned, SMU, Pitt, Virginia Tech, and Louisville, or the other ones, and Clemson is in there too. And look, if Clemson ran the table, it would be hard to say no,
right?
Especially since your only loss would be to a Georgia team that may or may not. That I would say probably would be a playoff team. So it's very interesting to see where that league's going.
But for that committee to be in that room, let's say Clemson wins out and they play in the ACC championship game, and Miami wins out or just gets one loss and they're in that ACC championship game, but Miami defeats them in a good game, how are you going to reward Clemson with an at-large bid over an SEC team when you saw what they did against an SEC team?
Well, I'm not sure that. I really don't think that would happen. Frankly, and again, there's still a lot of talk about the SEC, the Big Ten wanting X number of guaranteed wins. I think they're going to pretty much get what they want
for future playoffs.
Yeah, for the future playoffs when we begin in 26 and going beyond that. So, but I tell you what, guys, back to the SEC. I said very quietly for Clemson, maybe even quieter, is A&M's off this week. But I give Mike Elko a lot of credit for what they have done. I mean, my stars, with Connor Weekman coming back and playing well, I mean, they just, he resurrected himself, and they just absolutely dismantled Missouri. I'm really wondering, guys, and we've kind of seen this coming with Missouri. They can have had, another 2 losses, so there's certainly some dysfunctionality going on with them right now.
But after that first loss, we really look at teams maybe more carefully than we did in the preseason. Brent Beard with us talking college football from First Coast News in Jacksonville on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. If A&M could win out to the Texas game and then lose the Texas game, but that would be their only SEC loss, one loss in the SEC probably lands them in Atlanta.
Probably would. And what a turnaround would that be in so many
What
so
if we
many
rematched A&M and Texas back-to-back weekends?
I don't know if the state of Texas could handle that, frankly. They may all be on tranquilizers during that week.
And who would have had Texas versus Texas A&M in an SEC championship game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I tell you what, that defense is doing well for A&M, and this Levon Moss is doing real well too. So I don't want to say halfway point. I don't like to say that because it means it's going too fast. But it's been a more than fascinating season so far.
We're close.
Absolutely has. It absolutely is. Brent, when you look at this game this weekend down in Baton Rouge, Ole Miss on the road against LSU, we saw Ole Miss take the loss at home 2 weeks ago to Kentucky. Last weekend looked really good against South Carolina. What do you expect to see in this matchup?
I don't know. I haven't decided on that one yet. That's almost a coin flip for me right now. I mean, people
get your coin out. We need a pick.
They almost aren't even talking about LSU for whatever reason. I mean, after that, to Brett's point, after the USC loss, which they should have won, frankly, I mean, LSU has been. I'm not going to say that they've been ignored, but Garrett Nussmeier, I think, has played very well. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the best defense of that. I'm going to say Ole Miss is the best defense. I mean, they're only allowed 7 points a game or something like that, which is amazing along that line. So. But that will be, but that's going to be a humongous game. Frankly, I don't know if enough people are looking at that game yet.
Saturday night at Death Valley. Also Saturday night on Rocky Top, Florida and Tennessee. Would Billy Napier save his job if he sprung the upset?
He almost would.
He's getting close.
Yeah.
Closer.
It would certainly be closer. Now, Brett and I remember this. And you probably don't.
Okay.
But this was and this is not exaggeration, okay? When Fulmer and Spurrier were at those respective schools, that was literally the SEC game of the year. When
it was bigger than what Georgia and Bama was.
Yeah, it really was.
It was bigger than Bama and LSU. It was the Super Bowl in September.
Wow.
And usually the winner of that game won the Eastern Division.
And a lot of bad feelings out of that game for both sides.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt about that. So, but yeah, and unfortunately, people have forgotten that. And Brett, you remember CBS would have U.S. Open tennis, and usually Tennessee and Florida would actually be they
Prime
would
time.
start the year with the SEC schedule, usually in mid-September when that was going on. So yes, it was the game years ago.
Brent, we're short on time, and it's a great discussion point. As great as the CBS deal was, and it moved the SEC into a level that it had never been at, and there's no looking back now. Did CBS blow it not getting this contract?
I mean, they were. It was the theme music, knowing that you were going to have this game at 3:30, in that it was a national, humongous game. I mean, how do you? I mean, I've read the recent happening like you guys have, but yeah, I mean, how do you not go above and beyond to be able to save that? I mean, ABC's got it. Well, we're happy because we're an ABC station that I work with, and they've kind of moved the 3:30, the big game, to 7:30 at night. But oh yeah, Brett, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I don't know if they'd ever admit it, but somebody there has got to realize, well, we should have hung on to that one.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But it should be another fun weekend of football, especially with this slate in the SEC. Brent, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next Tuesday.
Thank you, Brent. Be safe.
Y'all think about us, guys, because tomorrow is, or at least starting tomorrow, we think tomorrow night through Thursday is when this thing is, the hurricane that's coming through. I think we're going to be okay. But we're really troubled about Tampa and that I-4 corridor and what that thing could do in that area.
Yeah, it's definitely some scary stuff. We're going to be praying about you, Brent.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it greatly.
Thanks, Brent.
You got it, friend.
Brent Beard joining us from down in Jacksonville with First Coast News, and we know it's looking like it's not going to be good stuff down there.
No.
Starting tomorrow and definitely into Thursday. So definitely
no way to miss it.
No, absolutely not. So we're definitely thinking about everybody down there and keeping all those folks in Florida in our prayers. But before we get to a break, let me remind you about our great friends over at Wilson's Pro Wash. Do me a favor. Picture your home beautifully clean and pristine. Is that hard to do? Maybe impossible? Not when you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Their Gentle Touch Pro Wash will restore your house, fence, driveway, commercial building, and more to their very best. Wilson specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces from concrete to stone, brick to mortar, even wood to vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal your surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Wilson's Pro Wash, clean is their mission. They'll wash away everything but your sins. So give them a call at 901-524-6799. That's 901-524-6799, or go online to wilsonsprowash.com. Let's get to another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what we learned from the weekend in college football and the NFL. That's next on Sports Time.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. There's no better time of the year than now. Football and fitness go hand in hand in the fall. And with individual screens on each piece of cardio and multiple big screens throughout the rest of the club, you'll never miss a bit of the action watching your favorite team. ATC Fitness continues to be the Mid-South's choice for fitness, family-owned for 30 years, and proud supporters of Coach Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. Join online at atcfitness.com. ATC Fitness. Exercise your right to look good.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
The best I do's start with Sissy's Blue. Discover bridal jewelry worthy of your big day at Sissy's Log Cabin, along with our spectacular experience that comes with our promise of exceptional quality, service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Experience our expansive selection when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Find your perfect engagement ring only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's finally moving a little bit better out here. We had that earlier crash on I-40 westbound at Canada Road. At one point, you had it at a gridlock going eastbound. That's even flowing a lot better. So now it's looking better. Just give it time to thin out on 40 east and westbound at Canada Road. It's cranking up pretty good now out of the Midtown area, 240 southbound as you work your way all the way down to Norris. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. Go by and see them. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Pro Wash, your residential and commercial pressure washing service and control. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and a lot happened over the weekend in both college football and the NFL, so we got to talk about what we learned from both. Brett, why don't you start us off?
I'm going to start off with a note, and it's not my big number of the day, and it doesn't count against my what I know.
Okay.
Well, I do know this, but I'm not going to use it against this. How about this? And I meant to bring it up with Brent Beard because he turned me onto it. In the last 12 college football games, Sonny Dykes, Hugh Freeze, Billy Napier, Sam Pittman, and Lincoln Riley, all 5-7.
Wow. Interesting.
Lincoln Riley on a list with Hugh Freeze and Sam Pittman.
Wow. That's, Lincoln Riley, it's been kind of rough for him as of late, but that is crazy to even think about him on that same list with those guys.
Nobody expected that. The SC people that hired him or him, going out there. He didn't want anything to do with the SEC. He was glad to get out, but he didn't sign up for this Big Ten either.
No, he did not. No, he thought he could go run the Pac-12 and just throw it all around the field, and that's not going to work in the Big Ten.
And he's got a big one in that Big Ten this week, hosting Penn State.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be a wild one. And
that Trojan big money wants a W at the Coliseum.
Oh, they do, and it's gonna be hard to get, especially after that loss last week to Minnesota.
Interesting, because a lot of that same big money that got him to leave OU, they were flirting with James Franklin.
That's
remember,
right. They absolutely were.
There was a lot of talk that he was the choice number one. Here's what I know: Bama just can't be that good if you lose to Vandy.
Okay.
How'd I know that? His historical SEC trends.
Yeah.
I don't know what Vandy's going to go on and do, and I don't think it's going to be a lot. It might be more than we expect in the preseason, but when you, like Ole Miss losing home to Kentucky, Alabama lose anywhere on earth to Vandy,
yeah,
you're not very good.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. It's not a good sign for you. I'll go with my first one in college football because it's from that same game. Diego Pavia is one of, if not the most interesting players in the entire country in college football. I mean, his backstory,
that is a great take.
His time at New Mexico State, being under-recruited, now at Vanderbilt, and just what he's done there, the confidence he has. I mean, he's just a fascinating player to watch.
And this Saturday, real drama real stakes around Vandy at Kentucky.
That's crazy.
Because for both of them, the last time out on the field of play,
right.
It was Kentucky as a 16-point underdog winning in Oxford,
Yep.
breaking a long winning streak,
Yep.
and Vandy shocking tennis fans.
Shocking the entire world. Even people who don't even know the first thing about football were like, wait a minute, Vanderbilt beat Alabama? What's happening?
My next, what I know, Tennessee doesn't play on the road again until they play at Georgia November 16th. If Nico was that lost at Arkansas, I don't think he'll be in good shape at Georgia. Only 2 more road games all year for Tennessee. Everything else, after they play Bama, they only play on the road. No, they play Bama at home. After they have Georgia on the road and Vandy on the road the rest of the year.
Wow, that's not easy, Brett. It's not easy at all. But yeah, Nico looked a little lost in that game against Arkansas on the road. My second one.
Well, they got Florida. They got Florida and Bama at home, Kentucky at home, State at home, Georgia on the road, UTEP at home, and at Vandy. I'm right. I got to thinking, doubting myself. Did I really know it that much?
No. You're on it, Brett.
I don't know. This is supposed to be certitude here. I don't think I was really certain. Did you?
Don't second guess yourself, Brett.
I doubted myself midstream.
Yes, you did. That's okay. My second one from college football. Not enough people are talking about Ohio State. It feels like, and maybe it's just where we are in the country.
Man, Bryce, you are loaded today. You're firing away.
But I watched. I told you yesterday. I was on the golf course Saturday afternoon, and I got to the clubhouse. We were at Timber Trust. Got into the clubhouse. Me and my buddy were eating a little snack, and we flipped on the Iowa and Ohio State game. And just to see that offense, how well it's playing against a team like Iowa. I understand Iowa is not what it was last year, what it has been the last couple of years, but that is a good Iowa team. You know, when you're playing Iowa, you're going to face a good, disciplined team, especially defensively.
You don't out-scheme them. You got to beat them.
No, exactly. And to see what Ohio State did in that second half, because it was 7-0 at halftime, and to see what they did coming out and just blow them out, really, really incredible stuff. But I just don't think enough people are talking about this Ohio State team.
I think you're probably mostly right, and the pressure's really on. And now this week there will be talk around, going out to Oregon that we've all been looking forward to all year. I alluded to this with Brent Beard. 3 teams had the most advantageous schedules you'll ever get from the schedule maker, with really good teams as well going into this year. That was Ole Miss, Mizzou, and Tennessee. There might be one playoff team among those 3. There's not 2, though.
No.
There's not 2 among those 3.
That's a good one.
And you've let this opportunity, talent-wise, team-wise, the preseason buzz and that schedule, and you're potentially letting that year get away from you.
Yeah.
When's that come around again?
That's a great point, Brett. That is such a good take. You're absolutely right. My last one for college football, a little bit off the high major top 25 path, but I'm going to go with it. UAB is in a really bad spot right now as a program. 1-4 on the season after I couldn't even believe this, Brett. 71 points Tulane put up. 71-20, that final score. I think a lot of people are starting to question, does Trent Dilfer really want to even be there? I think he thought this is going to be fun. I'm going to be able to go in there. And in high school, he was able to recruit a bunch of guys into Lipscomb. And, I'm going to be able to go to UAB, and I'm going to get money behind me, and I'm going to recruit a bunch of great
you
players.
Did it. I can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. And it's not working out for him. And, the last couple of games for UAB have just been really, really bad to watch.
And the rest of the schedule for them, unless it's Charlotte at the end, who do they beat?
It's it's tough. You're right. Their next game out on the road against Army, and Army's been playing really, really good football.
They have been. I really like the idea of hiring Trent Dilfer.
I did too.
Thought what he got to lose.
Sure.
Their previous head coach had a mostly high school background, Billy Clark, and that worked out very well for them, except for when they nuked their own football program and then they resurrected it. And there were times in that game Saturday, I told someone, there's not a more popular person in the Ole Miss world than John Sumrall.
Yeah.
He was only at Ole Miss 2 years on Matt's staff, and I mean everybody fell in love with him. I told somebody in administration Saturday, we saw the score, it was getting up there, and I said, that's John showing the high school coach what he can do.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that, and it's been fun to see what he's done in a short time at Tulane as well.
NFL, you go first.
All right, I'll go first with the NFL, and Darian, cover your ears. The 49ers, they need a week off more than anybody.
Hey, I told you to take the +7. I am in.
Sure
hey.
Sure
I'm
did.
neutral here, people.
Yeah, keep your ears closed for my first one. I'm afraid clock struck midnight for Brock Purdy.
Ooh, yikes. You might be onto something, bro.
6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not a lot of help. Still a good story.
Yeah.
But he's more Jim Garoppolo than he is Joe Montana.
Oh no, you are absolutely right about that.
Who's not, Brett, with that when everybody's closer to Garoppolo than Montana?
Yeah.
That's true. Well, Steve Young wasn't.
Well.
Yeah.
But man, yeah.
And I've said it many times, Darren, that's the saddest thing about any quarterback ever in the history of the 49ers. The best you're playing for in team history is third.
Yep.
Easily third.
Yep.
Easily third.
That's crazy.
And
hey, I want to be number 3.
That's right. Yeah, bronze medal. How about that?
And if I close my eyes and think about it, Jeff Garcia may have a tight hold on 3.
He could.
Yeah.
John Brody, way back.
Sure.
But, yeah.
Hey, now you're playing for 4th. I mean, just keep going down the list.
That was my first one for
That's
Purdy.
really good. That's really good.
Clock's hit midnight for him.
My second one, the Commanders have one of the best offenses in the league, and a big part of that is because of how good Jaden Daniels has been to start the season. Darian, we talked about it last week before that game off air about, what could the Commanders do? Could they keep it rolling? And we both kind of said, I don't know. One thing about Cleveland is offensively they're not good, but defensively. They are a really good team, and to see the Commanders just score at will against them, Jaden Daniels has been a thrill to watch this
Do
year.
you recall Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, finish him.
Total mirror match, I believe, this Sunday with the big challenge of them going up to Baltimore.
Oh,
man. They shadow each other. Yeah. They look so much alike, and maybe the clock strike 12 on Jalen.
Ooh, okay.
Boy, a lot of midnights, a lot of places.
I guess so.
Here's another one. Clock strikes midnight and water finds its level.
Okay.
You know I like that, Brian.
Yes, you absolutely do.
It's found it with Justin Fields, and you knew it would.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of that even...
The more he plays, the worse he gets.
Sure, and I mean, even earlier in the season, it was mostly the
More
defense
exposed
that
he is.
was doing it. A good run game and the defense is what was really going. I heard, Johnny Radio and I were talking about this earlier today about, the Steelers kind of getting away from the run on Sunday night was, I had my questions about that because you can run against the Cowboys, and it feels like the Steelers have had some success this year, a lot of success this year with that run game. So I think
that game really conspired. We got it. Bo will take us right inside it because he was there.
He was.
Took the crowd out, the long delay, the weather.
That weather delay was huge for the Cowboys. I mean,
hour 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And Cowboys really benefited from all that.
They 100% did. My last one. Chiefs are still the real deal. I mean, it feels like every single time you question them, every time you have your doubts,
we're not allowing any more group locks against them. That's going to be a rule. I'm serious.
It should be.
Whoever the fourth picker is, if the other three,
but Brad almost took him. Brad, if you recall, he was like, and then you made it unanimous. He almost did.
Dumbest group lock we've ever had. I knew it when we were doing it.
No, I did too, and that's why I said this feels like the spot where we all try to act smart and go with New Orleans, and then
you don't need to act smart.
Kansas City comes out and dominates, and that's exactly what they did.
They sure did. My last one, Sam Darnold is having the year this year for the Vikings that they dreamed about him having as Broadway Sam in New York. He was never close to this. It may not be all those players. It may be the dysfunction of Woody Johnson and that general manager. I don't know how Joe Douglas survives that, and I hate that. I got a good friend of mine running director of college scouting, our old buddy Phil Savage, but it could be the big broom again in New York, and another no plan. What's your way out? Okay, so they should call Belichick. And he should slam. Well, we can't slam the phone anymore. You just hit the button. Used to, it could feel really good.
That's
just slam it.
It did feel good to slam a phone.
but now you doesn't. But But I've had some squirrels hang up on me, even when you can't slam a phone on people. But Belichick should slam the phone down and tell him never call him again and block the number. Then do you call Vrabel, and would Vrabel be that loyal to Coach Bill Belichick and him slam the phone?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know, because where do you turn if you're the Jets? I mean, I think there's some good options out there, but are they going to want to take that job? I don't know.
That's right, because they saw kind of the resume profile guy. It not work for him, and that's with getting Aaron Rodgers.
That's right. And then it's, do you want to deal with Aaron Rodgers if he's back next year? I mean, it's a weird situation up in New York.
Here's Sam Darnold's numbers: 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 11-4. That's great. Passing yards, 11-11.
Wow.
1,111.
He's been really good.
He has been really good for all of us in this area at so many locations. It's Jason's Deli for all the fall festivals, for all the get-togethers, for all the Halloween events and things we're planning and we'll have done, for all the tailgating, for all the football, for all the game-watching parties. 5 or 5,000, let Jason's Deli take care of it. A variety of delicious choices for all 3 meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner, mid-afternoon meals, whatever you want to do, whatever you choose. You can always count on low delivery fees. Call the local deli for all the details there. Vegetarian and sensitive and gluten-sensitive options. Same-day and last-minute orders welcome. When you don't have your event plan just right, step aside, let them step in. That's when they excel. Professional setup included with delivery by their delivery drivers, all with food handling permits. Bringing more to the table, it's a family thing at Jason's Deli. For dining in, to go, or delivery in all the locations, like over across from MUS on Ridgeway, down in Olive Branch, out in Cordova, by the University of Memphis at Poplar and Highland, and all those locations, the complimentary free ice cream, the catering, again, anytime, anywhere. In the restaurants, you can always count on the great salad bar with over 30 items to choose from for you to prepare it however you like. Healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free, and you can order off the menu with the Mesa chicken salad, the chicken club salad, my favorite, the taco salad, and it is chili season for sure for me with these cooler nights and cooler morning. Jason Deli, all about choice, plenty of organic food to choose from. Again, complimentary free ice cream in all these locations, down in Olive Branch, out in Cordova, by the U of M at Poplar and Highland, and over by MUS on Ridgeway Road. Over 200 Memphis area associates. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Let's get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It didn't take them long. Genesis Diamonds is now the undisputed value leader here in Memphis. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and people who have gone into Genesis Diamonds with a budget have often left spending less than they thought they would, and they end up with a better diamond, a bigger diamond, and a nicer ring. I'm telling you, Genesis has disrupted the old school jewelry store scene right here in Memphis. It starts with value. Genesis is a direct diamond importer where they get their diamonds from the world's best diamond cutters with no middleman. I call it extreme value. Genesis is also the authorized retailer for all the top bridal designers, so they have the rings on every woman's wish list. They back up every purchase with a 100% free lifetime warranty. That means no charge ever for things like sizing or cleaning. All this in a fun, relaxed environment with no commission salespeople, no pressure of any kind, and no retail pricing games. We've needed a place like this for years here in Memphis, and now Genesis is here. It's quite a change from other jewelry stores with traditional prices, limited selection, and insane markups. Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended in Poplar Commons.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't do another Halloween spot for Central Barbecue.
But it's October. Doing a Halloween spot for Central Barbecue is a tradition.
But it doesn't make it a good thing.
Nothing else happens in October.
Baseball?
Not if you're a Cardinals fan. What else you get?
Okay, no, I'm definitely gonna keep them posted. It's supposed to be over with at 3. So
Do something constructive for the world.
And going to Central Barbecue isn't?
I'm telling you, it's got to be Halloween.
There's no other choice, I guess.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah?
This year, give the kiddies ribs on Halloween. They love that.
Seriously, next year, something new.
Hi,
Hi, this is Lauren Choate, Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators. Right now, we're offering our Choate's Comfort and Safety Special. For a limited time, when you purchase a $99 tune-up, or if Choate's performs a repair, you'll receive a free 1-year standard fan plan membership at $400 value. Keep your home safe, comfortable, and running smoothly all year long with 2 maintenance visits, priority service, and discounts on future repairs. And for our existing loyal fan plan members, we have something special just for you. Enjoy a $1,000 loyalty coupon toward any new generator, tankless water heater, or HVAC system. It's our way of saying thank you for trusting us with your home. Add value, add comfort, and add safety to your home with Choates. Call us today at 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com. Choates, let our family serve your family.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95
Big Daddy. Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big. Big Daddy.
The big boy. You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today is another baseball big number. This one comes from that game yesterday for the Detroit Tigers. My big number is 2. Kerry Carpenter is the first Major League Baseball player to hit a 2-out, 2-strike, go-ahead home run in the 9th inning of a postseason game since Kirk Gibson did it in Game 1 of the 1988 World Series.
October 15th, 1988.
How about that? Kerry Carpenter joining elite company.
Isn't Kirk Gibson, is it TV or radio? Isn't he part of the Tigers announce team?
That's right, and I don't remember which one it is.
I don't know either, but I know he is, and that was off Dennis Eckersley, and I love Dennis Eckersley, and about the only bad pitch through all year.
Mm-hmm. He's with TV. He's the color commentator on Bally Sports Detroit.
That was 88, 89, 90, Dennis Eckersley, untouchable. Again, my favorite baseball stat, 90. More saves than base runners allowed. My big number is 18. This is going to take a while, but I'm going to get it all in. 18 teams that have already reached or exceeded last year's win total in college football.
Okay.
Arizona State, Arkansas, Buffalo, BYU, Charlotte, Cincinnati, Colorado, ECU, Indiana, Navy, Nebraska, Nevada, Pitt, Sam Houston, UConn, Louisville, UL Monroe, not Louisville, UL Monroe, Vanderbilt, and Virginia. I want to thank our friend Brandon Moore on Twitter at B Moore at College Football for that nugget. Those coaches, not all of them were in some kind of trouble, but that gets everybody off of you.
Oh, yeah, no, certainly does. That's a really good stat.
Charlotte, you're Charlotte. You're Biff Poggi.
Fighting Biff Poggies. Yeah, they got a big win over East
UConn
Carolina.
with Jimmy Moore Jr.
UConn, that's right. Sam Houston. I mean, Sam Houston looks like a good team.
I think Louisiana Monroe's Vegas number was 1.5.
Is that right?
Team.
Holy cow.
How would you like to step up with a wad in July and bet it on UL Monroe over 1.5?
You know what? I think I'm going to take the over 1.5.
And you're there in October, and you got to wait to December to get your cash.
Well, at least you know it's going to be there. At least you don't have to wait.
Well, that's the Doka's area theory of you're going to give it all back knowing you have it.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. But, man.
Doug was 1-1 college, 2-0 NFL with us.
Wow. Good stuff from Doug.
Bruce Marshall, 6-4 in college, 1-1 NFL.
How about that? Yeah, some good stuff from Bruce. I told you we were talking off air on Friday about, do we like Army? Do we like Navy? Then Bruce comes in and says, "Hey, I like both of them," and we go, "All right." And so I had to ride them, and both those teams have looked really, really good to start the season.
And they've got some challenges ahead, but if it happened, if it built. Now, am I right on this? That they could play in the AAC championship game, and then the next week would be Army Navy.
That's correct.
And then one of them would be playing the next week on campus, probably as the 12th seed.
Could be in there
as the group of 5 member.
Yeah. No, that definitely is a possibility. Yes.
Wouldn't that be something with a sport that I love, but it is. Right now, I mean, just all we're talking is money and happiness and playing time and who's content and who's not. And here comes Army and Navy.
How about that? It's incredible. And
all they get at the end of 4 years is a 3-year mission somewhere.
Yep.
But they know that today they sign up to go to school there.
They absolutely do. It's incredible what they do.
But with a world on fire. What could happen in the next 3 years after playing their last college football game is different than everywhere else.
100%.
Again, they know that today they sign up.
Sure. But both still have to play Notre Dame, and it looks like Army avoids Tulane this year, but Navy does play Tulane at home later in the season.
And that's, one of them gets Notre Dame, too, don't they?
Both of them do.
They both get Notre Dame.
Both play Notre Dame. That's right.
Go Army and Navy.
Wouldn't that be something? I mean, so and for let's see, I think one's coming up really soon. Navy, Notre Dame on October 26th. And then Army gets Notre Dame on November 23rd. So
and that helps the Notre Dame strength of schedule debate.
100%.
If they beat them both, I mean, we can't be praising them in early October, and then when Notre Dame beats them, then we rip. Well, they played Army and Navy.
That's right.
You can't do that.
No, not at all.
Well, you can, but you're not being consistent.
That's very true. Before we get to a break here, an update in this baseball game. The Mets are up 1-0. In the bottom of the third inning. They have 1 on right now in the bottom of the third against Aaron Nola. So we'll keep you updated on that one. But right now, Mets with a little bit of a lead at home.
Now, what's the Met equivalent of the Philly Fanatic?
I don't know. What do they have?
Like their Fred Bird. It's pretty good, isn't it, Mr. Met?
That's right. It's Mr. Met. That's correct. I don't know why I was blanking on that for a
second. I like
You're
him.
right. Yeah, Mr. Met is really good. That's one of the.
Isn't he like the orange and blue baseball?
It's like a big baseball.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's a really good one.
My favorite thing about all the on-field mascots, of course, they're always expressionless.
That's right. Of course.
Is it a happy Philly Fanatic or a sad one?
That's right. And some of them are great because some try to get cute and put like a smile on it, and then you see the mascot like when something bad happens, and they're like, "Oh no!" and they've got like this small grin on their face. It's fantastic. But yes, mascots, professional mascots especially, are a wild thing. But let's go ahead and get to a break and wrap up this second hour. And when we come back, we're talking a whole lot of NFL with Bo Marchant.
Guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Quirky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. but we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easier to last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. There is a couple of accidents still getting some attention out here right now. We're seeing that traffic develop on Sam Cooper going outbound, working your way back up on the Interstate 40 East is also trying to pick up here at Sycamore View Road all the way out into Fayette County. There's been some radar out there in the last hour or so on I-40 just past 269 as you head into Fayette County, so be careful. If you'd like to help the hurricane victims, make a donation to the American Red Cross. For more information on all this, just log on to their website, redcross.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Jenkins.
You say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand. You said you loved me, and that's a fact. And then you left me.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And Phillies got out of the third inning without giving up a run. It's still 1-0 in New York, that game against the Phillies and the Mets. But it was a busy, busy weekend in the NFL. So we got to talk some National Football League, and we do it every week with Bo Marchant. Let's go ahead and get to Bo.
National Football League talk every Tuesday with Bo Marchant, covering the NFL Draft at collegetopro.com and the NFL Draft Bible, covering the Steelers for Sports Illustrated, living and running in Eastern Ohio, and on Twitter X at Bo Marchant. Here's Bo with Bryant and Brett.
Bo Marchant joins us every week to talk the NFL. And Bo, let's start today with the game you were at on Sunday, an extended visit to the Steelers game for you because of that, hour and a half, hour 45 weather delay. What was that delay like? And then the game, that was a really fun one, especially for me with the Cowboys getting the win there late.
Yeah, I mean, the delay wasn't bad. I actually just, me and a couple other guys, we just kind of went out to the concourse of the stadium. Even though it was pouring, it was just, it felt good, you a little mist of rain. And it was just to get out of the, the nuances of just kind of sitting in the press box and then snack too much, You already had something to eat, and then you're sitting there, the nacho thing, you're like staring at the nachos.
Eat more.
Eat more. I don't want a cookie. Now I had 2 cookies. I don't want nachos. Now I had 2 cookies and nachos. So the nacho stand definitely got a workout during that delay. I can tell you that. They were restocking that. I don't think that nacho buffet that they have had ever dealt with that kind of barrage on it, just due to the rain delay.
What time did you get back to your home in Eastern Ohio?
I got home, I think, I could be off a few minutes, about 4:30 a.m.
Ooh. I beat you home from Columbia, South Carolina in less time that Saturday night, Bo. Golly.
Yeah, it was what it is. And I have a friend, need be, I can stay in the city if but I felt fine, and, it wasn't like it was raining or there was snow where it was a treacherous drive back. So, and the one thing, though, is, you're driving at 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, the roads are quiet. On the turnpike, there's points where you didn't even see a car, which is kind of strange. But, for that type of hour, it was a peaceful, calm trip. Saw a couple deers, but,
that's what I'm scared of, especially coming up with deer season and them chasing the doe. It scares me, the late night driving this time of year.
Yeah, that was that was a little thing, a little too close for comfort. Nothing, where it was like a near miss, but nonetheless, they were kind of walking off the side of the road. If they elected to do something out of the ordinary, then it could have been a different call. So,
Bo, about 30 minutes ago, I took a shot at Justin Field. Should I have?
No, listen, the more that I look at this team, and I think really, and I'm glad we brought it up, is I think the Steelers have to kind of fade off Najee Harris. I mean, I think he's 7th or 8th in the league in carries, and he averages 3.3 yards. It's his lowest in his career so far, in a season. And it's one of those things. They want to keep sport. Listen, the Steelers' offensive line. This isn't the Hogs. This isn't Russ Graham and Joe Jacoby and all these guys. This is an average offensive line, and they're stuck in the mindset that we're going to get Najee going. Yeah, listen, and when people preach, he gets 1,000 yards. It's a 17-game season. It's all if I like to joke that he's kind of like a Ferrari in a snowstorm. Like he's good to look at, but it's not going to work. You're not going to get anywhere, and it's just I think they just need to be more creative. And you see Jaylen Warren, you saw the success with Cordero Patterson when he was getting his carries. I just think it's weird that other guys get in that backfield and they're able to kind of scamper off 5-6 yards a tote. But then again, it's and we sometimes a few of us joke in the press box. It's 1 carry, 1 yard, 1 carry, 1 yard, and I think it stems from there. I think they need to be more creative, and I think Field has he become the man? He's just the guy not making mistakes, and at that point, I always like to justify that by saying, if you're watching a guy and you're saying, he completed a pass, look how he did really well. When we watched Patrick Mahomes last night, when you're watching Derek Carr, you're not thinking and complimenting them for completing a pass, and I think that's the maturation, and that's the ability of Justin Fields grown. But I wouldn't throw it all on Field.
You're right about a Ferrari's great, but not in a snowstorm. In a snowstorm, you need our title sponsor. You need a Range Rover. That's what you need for our title sponsor for this hour. Bo Marchant with us from Eastern Ohio. He covers the Pittsburgh Steelers in Western PA, and he's with us every Tuesday on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. But on the flip side of that, on the other side, that was impressive for Dak Prescott. Bryant was going to do it. I'll do it.
I thought this game should have. The score was 20-17, and it did take the Cowboys, But think about this: the Steelers lost the game where they had 3 turnovers and they blocked a field goal, but that's Steelers football. I told you guys all year it's going to be ugly that way. The defense is always going to be resilient and making some outstanding plays. But Dak's 2 red zone turnovers, that's uncharacteristic of the guy he is. I think if those don't happen. Those are more, at least 10 points bare minimum, at least 6. So I just think that the miscues by Dallas kept the Steelers in the game. And, you could argue, well, the Steelers, forced those issues, and that's why the game was close. But I just think that's a little bit too close to that. I thought, we know 350 yards he passed for. Ricky Dowdle was running wild, almost averaging over 5 yards a carry against the Steelers. And in the last 2 weeks, I think they're averaging 400 yards given up. The first 3 games, all wins, they were like 201, 229. So the yardage that the Steelers are giving up are almost double than their 2 losses. So I think there's more to it. They played some weird teams at the beginning of the year, and you got to win. You got to win those games. But I just thought, to me, watching that game, the score was close, and it did. It took the final offensive play by the Cowboys to reach the lead and win the game. But to me, I didn't look at it. It was like that close. And if the Cowboys would have walked away with the loss, I really think they would have said that they really let this one slip away because they had them beat. They made some mistakes.
Bo, the big story from the NFL today is the news of the Jets firing Robert Saleh. What did you make of that news this morning?
I wasn't shocked. If it was going to come, I would have figured it might have come, in a couple of weeks. But after 5 games, and I applaud the move. I do. I think you see. I picked them to have the most wins in the AFC, I didn't necessarily pick them to go deep in the playoffs, but this is a talented roster on both sides of the football. And after 5 weeks, I don't give any credence to beating a lousy Patriots team in primetime. That doesn't impress me. And their losses have been ugly. They got destroyed by the 49ers. They got embarrassed by the Broncos. And you figured, hey, you know what, they're going to have some life this weekend against the Vikings. And, the defense played great. I thought the offense with Rodgers, he looked bad. But so, listen, they can't get rid of Rodgers. So then, we know the next one that's going to fall. And you can't get rid of Nathaniel Hackett because that's Rodgers' guy. So, Robert Saleh. And I guess I like the move because, Saleh has had his time. And even though I like the success he's had without Rodgers and kind of keeping the team kind of, in it, the way this season started, you had to make a change. And I think it puts all these other coaches on notice, too. Like, hey, if it's going to happen in New York with the Jets, I better make sure that when I clock in tomorrow to head to this facility, I better get some work done. I'm just not going to, mosey on through and get,
But
through
did he
this,
deserve to be escorted out of the building by security? I mean, what security threat was he?
I think that was probably one of them. Who knows what went? I don't think it was because he needed to be. I think that was kind of a shady move on the Jets.
But that's the Jets.
That's the Jets. And and they listen. They're going to have to win. And it's Jeff Orbach, the new coach, the interim coach. It's going to be on him now, and it's going to be on Rodgers. The only thing getting rid of Robert does is it puts the spotlight. Not that it was already on Rodgers in the offense, but now it really makes it's now Aaron Rodgers, and we saw some back and forth with them. The cadence issue last week, and then he kind of backtracked on it. So Rodgers isn't a guy that likes to be criticized or questioned, and I don't know if he had anything to do with this. They said this came from the owner, Woody Johnson. So, but at the end of the day, I think the Jets are too much of a talented team to play like they have. You think of Garrett Wilson, he's struggling. Breece Hall, he's just basically disappeared this year. And even if, I know Allen has played well as a backup, but, even the running game, non-existent. The passing game, I think 22 attempts to Garrett Wilson. Like, they're just not being creative. I know. I think Mike Wilson had 2 targets. I'm not saying Mike Wilson, but you're one dimensional. You're 22 targets to Garrett Wilson, and teams are knowing it. It's probably led to the turnover that Rodgers had. It's so predictable what they're going to do that there's little left to chance. I think as a defense watching or playing against the Jets right now.
He probably will laugh and send it straight to voicemail, but you got to call Bill Belichick, don't you? I know the past. I know it well. But you got to start there.
Yeah, I think you do. I think if you're Belichick, you love the opportunity to go to New York. Play,
would that be dunking on somebody of all time?
And then face the Patriots twice a year. I think the competitor in Bill would do that. He's going to inherit a talented defense, and he's going to inherit a future Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback. So I think if you're going to enter the idea of where do we need to go? If you're Belichick, pick up the phone and, I don't know how much bad blood was there with him leave, but he left the Jets. It wasn't like, but I think the opportunity, if it was there, you had to pick up the phone. You got Vrabel there. I doubt they do these in-season things, bringing in a guy like that. You figure the interim guy, unless it's a complete disaster, they'll roll with him. But yeah, you got it. Listen, when a guy like Vrabel or Belichick or, these type of guys are out there, you got to pick up the phone. They've had success. They have proven track records. And I do like the idea of Belichick with the Jets facing off against the Patriots twice a year. I think
I'm not even going to say it because I got crushed by a friend of mine around town. But in the name of, you got to call. Do you call Nick Saban? I said it.
No, you don't call Nick Saban. Yeah. Listen, I think for Nick at that age and go back to the NFL, that'd be a lot. And I don't know Nick Saban. I'm sure he would relish in the idea that he's not worried about the NIL and all the chaos that goes on with that. He would just have a salary cap and not worried about his junior defensive back transfer into Tennessee or something. So, but yeah, I rule that out. But I think the Jets, it's sometimes this ignites a team. We saw it last year when they got rid of McDaniels in Las Vegas and Antonio Pierce stepped in, and sometimes teams really kind of rally around that. And when you're not winning and your expectations are high, and this is not to say it's all on Salah, and this was the reason, but you got to make changes sometimes when it's working. And again, you can't get rid of Rodgers, so the next one to go is going to be the head coach.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Talking to Bo Marchand, he joins us every week to talk the NFL and kind of the other side of the Jets, the team they lost to on Sunday, Brighton early in London. The Vikings now out of nowhere, 5-0 to start the season.
Yeah, I watched that replayed, and I tell you what, I mean, Aaron Jones, his hip, they said he's week to week, but he really is I call him, he's like the Austin Eckler of that offense when Eckler was with the Chargers. And you kind of saw that offense, at least in my opinion, like once Jones was out, it lost a little bit of that spunk. And, and offensively, they weren't what they were in the previous weeks. Granted, the Jets were playing great defense, but I think that coincides with the absence of Jones. So I think Jones is a big piece. Sam Darnold's playing at an incredibly high level. Credit to the Vikings coaching staff for getting this kid under center and have him blossom. It's a great story. I mean, think 5-0 Minnesota Vikings heading into the bye week. It sounds crazy to think.
And J.J. McCarthy out for the year.
And J.J. McCarthy out for the year. And this is the fun part of sports where you think you look at the paper and you pencil this guy in as the starter, this guy's the backup, this is what we're going to do, and lo and behold, you think at that moment when McCarthy goes down that, wow, the Vikings are just going to have a miserable season. But lo and behold, I mean, their defense is playing outstanding. Sam Darnold is playing as good as any quarterback in the league. You got Jefferson and Addison, and then a healthy Aaron Jones. They're potent. They get Honkerson back soon. So if you're a Vikings fan, you got to really. It's not fake. The defense is real, and I think that's the key. This isn't a gimmick. They're not winning, on fluke plays and bad calls. They're going out and they're winning on both sides of the football. And at this point, after 5 weeks, I think it'd be foolish not to say that they're a contender as well as anybody in the NFC. Just from the way that they've performed, and I really think it's a meat and potatoes type roster. It's not flashy. They can put the points up, but they're a well-coached team on both sides of the football, and they can run the football, and they can pass the football, and they can play defense. And I think those are all great intangibles that can kind of win you a lot of games, and they might be able to win you some games in the playoffs.
Yeah. The other undefeated team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, they improved to 5-0 last night with a win on Monday Night Football. And it feels like this year, a lot of people, it feels like people do it every year, doubt the Chiefs. And this year it's been Travis Kelce hasn't played well, Rashee Rice now out for the season. What have you seen from this Chiefs team where it feels like they're getting a little bit of something from everybody?
I think that's it. I mean, Spags, the way he had that defense dialed up last night, and we know the Saints can put up points, and they held them in check. I think Kamara had 26 yards rushing. So they shut down the run completely. And then on the offensive side, Mahomes is just, Kelce, there's so much always old, blah, blah, blah. But, he led the team in targets and catches, and he was a key piece. And then, Juju Smith-Schuster, it's great to see a team like that. That's why they're back-to-back champions. That's why they're 5-0. Is they just find a way to win, and they don't let adversity. It's not an excuse. They just next man up, and it goes back to Andy Reid having some veteran coaches that know what they're doing, and they execute a game plan, and it works to their perfection. And it's funny because you know everybody out there. They smell. There's blood in the water. They know the Chiefs aren't at their best, and they know every week they're getting the best from every team. You got the Chiefs coming up next weekend. You're not getting intensified, like you're playing the Cleveland Browns. This is Mahomes and company, man. We want to knock them off the pedestal. We want to be the first team to give the back-to-back Super Bowl champions a loss. So they're getting the best shot week in, week out, and they prevail somehow. It's amazing. I am that said, and all that, I'm still, if you said, hey, Bo, would you take the Chiefs to the field? I'm taking the field on winning the Super Bowl.
Sure.
I just don't think, when it push comes to shove, especially in the playoffs, But then again, we've seen it last year. They really weren't at their peak, and you got that Mahomes guy back there, and with him, it's kind of he really changes the landscape of how a game's going to be ended just because of the way he can do things others can't.
The team rushing title for the NFL was decided the day the Ravens acquired Derrick Henry. You have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. You're going to be number one in rushing. So after that, it's Washington that's second. How real are they?
I think the same thing.
And they play this Sunday, Washington and Baltimore.
And, and the sad part is, and this is any quarterback, but we're all waiting for Daniels to kind of have that rookie game. He hasn't had it yet. And I think that if you're Washington, you go in this with the mindset that, one, Washington can score points, and the Ravens allow points. This isn't a stingy defense. You think of Baltimore, you think of fierce defense. They have a good defense, but it's not some shut-down defense where, they're going to squash you. So I expect a high-scoring game, to be honest with you. And, I got to give it to the Ravens because I think they're a better team, and they have the tenure of being so successful. And this is kind of a 4-1 Washington team that nobody envisioned at all. I don't even think Dan Quinn would have told you that he thought this team was going to be 4-1. He might tell you that, but maybe deep down he's like, man, maybe 2-3, 3-2 at the, but 4-1, wow. So
finally through with Dan Snyder and 4-1. Things have and new stadium on the horizons. Future's bright for inside the Beltway.
It's fun to see. It's fun to see, and they again the way they can run the ball, and now they're Jerry McNichols. He got in a couple weeks ago when Eckler missed the game from a concussion, and now he's involved. They got Robinson and Eckler and McNichols and scary Terry McLaurin. He finally has a quarterback. If Terry McLaurin played for any other team,
and that defensive front.
Oh, it's great. And they're that's the key. That defense is sneaky good. It's a sneaky team, and I joked about it. I think last week, or be like, you just assumed this was going to be the Eagles and the Cowboys running away with this division is Washington and the New York Giants just mire in the muck, and that's not the case. And then the Giants are playing well. Daniel Jones, and I told you guys, I will never ever believe in the Giants again. And then right when I jump off the bandwagon, they start playing good football. I guess you couldn't have played football at a professional level any worse than what they were doing. So I guess any sign, but I don't think anyone would have said, hey, they're going to go to Seattle and win, especially after a night game, hard-fought game. But they did it. But Washington's a real team. I put it this way, guys. I don't think there's anybody out there right now that you can say, hey, this is just a dominant team. They don't have any weaknesses. We love the Vikings. They're 5-0. But we don't fear them. We still rather play the Vikings than the Lions. We rather play the Ravens than Washington. So despite what the records are, and we've seen these upsets, the 49ers, the things that they're doing, the way the Cardinals have been able to kind of win some games, Giants. I think the only thing you could kind of count on is Cleveland is probably good. They're going to have their issues. They're going to be in a world. Carolina and Cleveland are going to be bad, but I think the rest of the league. Survivor polls, they're just getting destroyed this year because it's the unpredictability that we've seen in the first 5 weeks. I don't remember where you have so many teams, good or bad, upsetting or being upset just the way this schedule is kind of shaken out. I mean, the Bengals 1-4. I still think they can make the playoffs. I know it's going to be a tough sledding. I mean, they're going to have to win a lot more games than they lose. But, I just think the teams ahead of them or even in that AFC, I still don't look at they're worse than or better than the Bengals. Right now, they're just, they played well against the Ravens. They played well against the Chiefs. They need to play well against lousy teams. That's, I think, what's holding them back. They're going to, that New England loss week 1, that's going to haunt them.
Yeah. Last thing for you, Bo. The news came out earlier this afternoon that it looks like we'll see Drake May make his first start for the Patriots this weekend. What do you expect to see out of Drake May?
I wish I knew. I know what I liked of him collegiately, so I hope he does well. they're going to be a run-heavy team, and they're probably not going to ask him to do a lot. And, New England's got their struggles. So, anything positive after him just having a disastrous debut, I think would be a positive for both May and the Patriots. So, it's hard. And we this is where I get nervous for May. And this, usually, but think about this. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and then Bo Nix, 3 rookies. We know McCarthy's hurt. Penix is, behind Cousins right now. But, 3 rookie quarterbacks all playing and winning last week is phenomenal. And they're playing at a high level. So, I just think wow, I mean, we gotta roll the dice and and win again with Drake May being as talented as these other 3 guys that have already stepped on the field. So that's why I just get nervous. The laws of physics, if you will. It's it's hard to get a good quarterback in the first round. We see 3 really good ones in this 2024 draft. And we'll may be the 4th one that we see this year play that really knocks us off our feet. I hope it is. You need great quarterback play, but again, I liked him in college. I thought he did a lot of things well, but he was the most criticized quarterback of the trio or of the group that went in the first round. I think if you either love Drake May or you do not like Drake May at all. Other prospects, here and there, but May was definitely, I think, the most 50-50 of guys coming out between loving or not liking.
Bo, help us with this college football scouting report. How good's Pitt? How good's Eli Holstein?
He looks like the real deal. He's made a couple plays where I forget what it might have been. What game was it? But anyways, he made a play where it was just a good. He dropped back and he looked the guy to the left and then he went back to the right. And I just in that moment in that particular play, I thought that was just a resilient way to go about it at his level. And but he's playing at a phenomenal level. I think I wrote a story after the 1 week. His numbers were at that point on par with Kenny Pickett when Kenny Pickett won Offensive Player of the Year for the ACC. So I think that gives a lot of, and you're not talking Kenny Pickett, who had probably, I'm just rambling off number, 4 seasons of college football under his belt, almost 40 starts. And this is this kid's basically his first year really playing and him having that types of success. So, it's a lot to like about him. He's put away that he makes Saturdays at Pitt fun to watch because they're going to be able to move the ball.
That's right. No, they've been really, really fun this year. Well, Bo, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Yep, stay safe, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bo. Bo Marchant joining us to talk the NFL like he does every single Tuesday. We need to get to a break, but before we do that, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. That's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984. Their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, or the 2025 Defender. Test drive the 2025 Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635 horsepower. And it's also available as a plug-in electric hybrid vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Also, take a look at the 2025 Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The 2025 Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. And don't forget about the 2025 Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern Explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call today at 877-259-6169. That's 877-259-6169, or go online to view all of their vehicles at jaguarbluffcity.com. Let's get to another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Be sure to follow us at Sports Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and the biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab King's is #1. So don't be disappointed in seafood. Make the right choice the first time and every time. Make it Crab King's. Crab King's have only locally grown catfish. Come and devour tasty snow crabs, king crab, shrimp, salmon, catfish, calamari, and so much more. Enjoy Memphis's best tasting pasta with your choice of toppings. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. Crab King's is open Wednesday through Sunday. Enjoy 50% off lunch portions and dollar fountain drinks. The #1 name in Cajun seafood is Crab King Seafood, a Memphis favorite. Crab King, 7140 Stage Road. Kings with the Z.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill and I buy houses.
Lots of our fans have gone to see Genesis Diamonds, and they are amazed. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and Genesis is fast becoming the go-to place for people here when it comes to engagement rings and fine designer jewelry. They also have a ton of luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Genesis guarantees the best diamond prices, period. They are a direct diamond importer with no middleman, which means incredible value for you. Genesis turned the old-school jewelry business model upside down with slimmer margins, more selection, no commission salespeople, and stronger warranties. They have every diamond you can imagine, natural and lab-grown diamonds in every shape and every size. Genesis has thousands of designer engagement rings from top designers that you won't find at other stores. And keep this in mind with the holidays around the corner. Genesis has case after case of incredible diamond fashion rings, diamond eternity bands, diamond earrings, diamond necklaces, colored gemstones at every possible price point. All of this in a beautiful new showroom with great local experts who will teach you how to buy like a dealer buys. Genesis Diamonds, you will love it at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's gotten heavier the last few minutes on 40 East to hit Sycamore View Road here all the way out past Canada Road. I know we had some problems out there earlier. That's since been cleared, but there's still some troopers scattered along the interstate out there on I-40 in parts of Shelby and Fayette County. It's gotten heavier on 240 East getting on to 385 Billmores Parkway going outbound. Weimer's Jewelry 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios as we got a little bit less than 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending, a handful of things trending today, and we just got done talking NFL with Bo Marchant and kind of ran out of time before I could bring this up. Last night in that Monday Night Football game, Derek Carr went down with an injury. He went back to the locker room, did not finish the game. From the reporting last night, it did not seem good, an oblique injury, and now it is being reported that Derek Carr is expected to miss multiple games with this oblique injury, and that there is a chance Spencer Rattler could be and is being considered for the starter moving forward.
Yeah, that's the injury in college that Quinn Ewers has been suffering from and been out, but expected back for Red River this week for Texas against Oklahoma. Usually more of a baseball injury. I wonder if it's from an actual throw or a hit. Was it last night for Carr? Was it a hit?
I don't remember.
I don't remember the play.
I don't either. And I was watching. I had eyes on a lot of things last night during that game.
Ewers looked like he got twisted around,
Sure.
and that's the way a lot of them with baseball. Turning for a pop up or something.
Sure. And so
A lot of times swinging, pitchers pitching.
Yeah, and so.
Who knew it would afflict NFL
That's right.
or football?
It would make its way to football, and now you mentioned it. I mean, two notable quarterbacks, one in college and one in the NFL, now out with an oblique injury. And so, what does this mean for the Saints? It's a good start to the season, but now if you don't have Derek Carr out there, it could get ugly for them.
Kind of slipping away in the Spencer Rattler era. We ready for it?
Yeah, well, I don't think I'm comfortable with either the Spencer Rattler or the Jake Hayner era. I don't know.
No, I'm not either.
I don't know if I
haven't prepared for either.
No.
So you all
I don't know the proper
Taysom Hill experience. We're done with those.
I think I'd rather have Taysom Hill back there.
I thought
than
so.
those two.
I thought so. Okay.
I mean,
yeah, but how has that always ended up?
You turn into a army out there.
Yeah, it's going to look like a lot of Wildcat brains.
On the
Wildcat.
Turn into Vanderbilt. I think that's maybe more of a closer comparison, but I don't know. It could get rough for the Saints. I'm curious what the rest of the next couple of weeks for the Saints look like, because.
Well, Eastern Kentucky's not on the schedule. I'll guarantee it.
No, I can guarantee you that. Let's see. Saints, Bucks, Broncos, Chargers. Next 3 games for them.
NFL.
Yeah. I mean,
it's tough.
It's very tough, and even though Broncos, I still don't feel confident.
That defense, the Bronco defense, man.
And Bo Nix has been, he's up and down, I guess, but he hasn't
Texas
been
had,
terrible.
after Ewers got hurt, they had UL Monroe and Mississippi State.
That's right. Yeah, no,
a little bit of difference.
Little bit of a difference, for sure. But hopefully Derek Carr isn't out, too terribly long. But yeah, definitely hated to see that last night in that Monday Night Football game.
Baseball's getting good.
Sure is, yeah. Mets now a 2-0 lead in the top of the 6th. Both homers, Pete Alonso with the first one, Jesse Winker with the second home run. And so, yeah, Mets looking good
Jesse
right
Winker
now.
making a lot of friends, isn't he?
Yeah, quite the opposite. I don't think he has many
He
fans
better end up playing for everybody.
that are not Mets fans. It's hard to
Brian,
like them.
Don't we have to give a tribute to our guy?
Who's our guy?
Tommy Pham. Had a big base knock last night.
Sure did. Tommy Pham, Mr. Royal. How about that?
Ended up playing for everybody and making the play for everybody this year.
This year, I was just about to say, it feels like he's been all over the place this season and somehow found his way on a postseason roster. It's incredible.
Mr. October, Tommy Pham.
Who would have thought, Brett? Who would have thought? That just sounds weird coming out of your mouth. Mr. October, Tommy Pham.
He had 1 or 2 hits.
I don't remember.
1 hit.
I was about to say, I know I saw 1, but I won't put it past him if he had 2. I mean, Royals looked good last night. And now, Yankees in a tough spot, and that offense has not looked like it has most of the season, and Aaron Judge hasn't looked good at the plate, so
breakout time for Bobby Witt. I know we baseball fans, we know about him, but now we're even learning more about the slick fielding.
Oh yeah,
that arm, every play's routine. He can get to everything.
Yeah, and I remember talking about that, right before the playoffs started. This is a great opportunity for a guy like Bobby Witt, who, let's be honest, being there in Kansas City with the Royals, national television can get away from Kansas City very easily, especially on the diamond. Maybe not the
more people think Taylor Swift plays for the Chiefs than know about Bobby Witt playing for the Royals.
Yes, and so this was to make the playoffs and be in that wild card. Huge opportunity for Bobby Witt, and they have a couple other young guys on that team that I think are good players and will be good players. And
they sure do. And Brian, we did early in the baseball season. We said future much brighter in Kansas City than in St. Louis.
100%, definitely. And so, it's been fun.
Even the well-known
homers
homers that we are, we did get that right.
Yes, no, absolutely. So, no, they've been fun, and we'll see now going back to Kansas City if they can, maybe do something.
Bryce Harper with a big strikeout, runners first and second for the Phillies. Now that strikeout's the only out of the inning.
Yeah. See if the Phillies can do something here. I was kind of hoping Bryce Harper would do something there, but I guess not.
Nick Castellanos up. He came through.
Feels good. I mean,
he's been big.
He's another potential Mr. October. He's been pretty good in the last couple of games.
He has. Did we get winners from you on baseball earlier?
For just today.
Yeah. Who you're for?
Oh, I'm certainly for the Phillies. I think earlier when we were talking about it, I said Phillies and Padres.
But best of 5, game 3 tied it's advantage to that winner.
Oh no, 100%.
Mets got out of it.
Yeah, wow. So we'll see. I mean, you look at this series and especially last game. I mean, it was Mets, and then it was Phillies, and then it was so back and forth, and it was really, in the later innings where, they were just trading hits and trading home runs. So I'm kind of hoping maybe we get into that here, next inning or so. That'd be fun.
4 games tomorrow, 2:08 Guardians at Tigers, 4:08 Phillies Mets, 6:08 Yankees Royals, 8:08 tomorrow night Dodgers at Padres.
Yeah, so you have to have multiple screens to make sure you
could be a couple elimination games.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It could be. So tomorrow should be a really, really fun day of baseball, and your eye just saw it, the double play to get out of that inning for the Mets.
With every passing hour for the Tigers' potential playing Saturday, it feels like it's not going to happen.
No, I mean, I still, when I saw the notification this morning that the game was being moved to Saturday, I said, that's crazy. And I don't think there's any way you play that game in Tampa this weekend. Now, I've heard more. I think Jonah Dillon I saw on Twitter saying that Alex Golesh met with the media today and kind of spoke about what they're doing. The team is getting out of Tampa and going to Orlando. So this is the tweet from Jonah Dillon about an hour ago. Speaking earlier today, USF coach Alex Golesh said the Bulls will relocate to Orlando and will reassess the situation for Saturday's game with Memphis and the AAC on Thursday. Also, if game does happen, USF quarterback Byron Brown is day-to-day. So some interesting stuff there from Alex Golesh.
Yeah, and that whole question of, and our friend Brent Beards in Jacksonville, on Thursday we'll visit with Keith Smith in Orlando. Yeah. We have a lot of friends down there, and for the people evacuating that Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota area, where do you go? Do you go south or do you go north?
Yeah, it's a good question.
It's just so far you can go south.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And so, and you go north, how far north do you need to go to be completely out of the way of everything? And so, I just hate, we talked about it at the beginning of the show of just like, down in that type of weather down in Florida, 90% of the time, it's great. But I would hate to be there for this part of the year. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it is, and it's just no dodging it.
No, not at all. All right, do we get to our hockey picks now? Should we?
Yes, we get to hockey picks now.
Should we do that now?
Who goes first?
Noted
who
hockey.
Who won
expert.
the playoff picks? Hockey playoff picks?
Oh, Brad, I have no clue.
I do.
Do you?
I sure do.
Was it you? I'm guessing
it was
you
me.
Now. I was about to say
I got the T then.
With the way that was set up, I just thought you were asking. And then
no,
I
knew the answer to that question.
I knew then that it had to have been you.
Well-known hockey expert.
That's right. Well, okay.
You know what I'm going with. I'm going with
expert. Yes, please. You go first.
I'm going with the Toronto Maple Leafs to get off the schneid since '67.
Yep.
No Stanley Cup since '67. I pick them every year.
You do.
My Maple Leafs over Tennessee's team.
How about that?
The Nashville Predators.
How about that? I love it. Nashville and Toronto. Cutting it up.
Hey, Brian, we'll let you go last since you're the expert.
Okay, well.
All right.
Brett's the expert.
Right. I guess he is, right? All right. Dallas Stars have lost in the last 2 Western Conference Finals. That's why I'm taking them.
Okay.
Dallas Stars over the New Jersey Devils.
Wow, extremely close to my picks. Wow. I'm going to go with the Dallas Stars and the New York Rangers. How about that?
That'd be fun.
I'd love that.
Rangers haven't won it since '94.
Yeah, and they've been really close. Both
They've
those
been real
teams
close.
Been really close the last couple of years.
Stars will last one at 98, 99.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
No one on the Connor McDavid train. He's done everything but.
That's true.
Everything but.
I mean, they could be there, but they were so good last year, and couldn't get it done at the end. Made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final. So I mean, certainly could be there.
And Panthers can win from anywhere. They can win from a 2 seed. They can win from an 8 seed. So they can win from anywhere.
Yeah.
When was the last time for New Jersey? I'm trying to get to that.
It's been a while, if ever. I mean,
they've won it. 2000 for New Jersey.
So that's a while for me at least.
It is.
It's a while.
It is. And the last time for Dallas, 99.
Interesting.
That's
okay,
close.
So right there, 99 and 2000. How about that,
Yeah.
Darian? I like those picks.
Never for Nashville.
Never for Nashville. Yep, that's right.
And a long time for Toronto.
Yeah. So no, I tried to stay away from the 2 teams in the finals last year, and then just kind of who I thought could maybe get there outside of that.
So I'm at the Google machine. You want to know the coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs the last time they won it?
Oh, I have no idea.
First name Punch, like throwing a punch.
I love
that. Punch Imlach. Imlach, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Punch.
Punch Imlach.
I love that. I'm sure.
Guess who he defeated? Defeated the Montreal Canadiens, their coach, Toe, like Big Toe, Toe Blake.
Okay.
Punch Imlach over Toe. Come on, those are stage names. They made those up on the Google to throw me off today.
You didn't want to mess with Punch.
Punch Imlach, Toe Blake. I bet Punch got his name, honestly, don't you?
Stage name or not, I'm sure it was very fitting.
I'm thinking old Toe may have bit somebody's toe off in the bottom of a scrum.
Well, maybe want to stay away from Toe if that is the case. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be near anybody that's
the hockey.
Brett, you had me looking up the New Jersey Devils because I was wondering who's the standout player. So Marty Brodeur was on that team, but when you started talking names, I had to bring this one up. Old John Madden was on that team as well.
Shout out John Madden.
John Madden on the 0-1.
Was he talking about Brett Favre?
Multi-sport athlete. How about that? Didn't know. Good for John.
I didn't remember the 2000 Devils either. Defeated Dallas. I didn't.
Wow, how about that? Okay.
Rematch, Darren.
Yeah,
Next time we talk hockey, when will it be?
When the playoffs start.
When we make playoff picks.
When we make playoff picks, that's right. We're.
If Jaromir Jagr actually retires, we'll talk about it. Because he's 55 playing somewhere. I saw that.
Wait, say that again?
Jaromir Jagr, still playing.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's 50-something, playing overseas, I believe. So
good for him.
If he retires, I'll let you know.
I bet he knows Toe Blake.
I'm sure he does. Yeah, probably knows him very well. Maybe he's the one who bit his toe off. Who knows?
That's right.
Let's get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The best I do's start with Sissy's Blue. Discover bridal jewelry worthy of your big day at Sissy's Log Cabin, along with our spectacular experience that comes with our promise of exceptional quality, service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Experience our expansive selection when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Find your perfect engagement ring only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New customers will do a TD dance of their own because if you bet $5, that's it. You'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. The code is HERD, HERD. Put that in after you download the app. $200 for betting just 5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswangerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Plus. Once again,
this is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that Minnesota over the weekend pulled a big upset against USC, and today I learned that Minnesota head coach PJ Fleck joined a radio show up in Minnesota, KFAN, and said that players were given a, quote, antidote of confidence last Wednesday after their tough loss to Michigan. The players drank the capsules, which contained Sprite, and then upset USC on Saturday. A little antidote of confidence to get the boys
PJ
going.
Fleck.
How about that? I mean, I like PJ Fleck. He's a strange guy, and that is one of the more stranger things I've seen from him.
Yeah, it is. And now a big one this week for USC, as we talked about earlier, is they host Penn State at the Coliseum. What I learned, 12 teams remain undefeated in college football. Only one from the SEC. Here are the undefeateds: Ohio State, Indiana, Texas, the U, Army, Navy, Penn State, Iowa State, Pitt, Oregon, BYU, and playing tonight, Liberty. Oregon hosts the Ohio State University this weekend in a big game. 3 winless teams: UTEP, Kent State, and Kennesaw.
Yeah, it's starting to become that time, Brett. What do we always say? I mean, you're going to start learning who these teams are and figuring out who they are.
Getting close to being identified.
You are who you are, absolutely. What I could have done is the injury to Ja Morant last night in the first preseason game of the season down in Dallas. He went out twice with an ankle injury. The first time running down the court on defense, a fast break for Dallas. It kind of bounce pass, throw it off him, whatever they were trying to do. His foot kind of went one way. The ball kind of ricocheted off of it. He goes out, then comes back in later in the game, goes up for a dunk, comes down, and immediately goes off limping. Didn't feel right. Now, after the game, and he went back to the locker room, did not return to the game. After the game, Taylor Jenkins and Ja Morant both said that nothing to worry about, very minor and very precautionary. And so it sounds like they might keep him under wraps the rest of the preseason, which I think is probably what they should do. But another injury scare for the Grizzlies last night.
we're scared of everything
Absolutely.
with the Grizzlies, aren't we?
100%. After last year,
I mean, just eggshell existence on the injuries. We've been so badly burned. I could do without this. Please stop with all the Bronny examination of his game. Don't do the big at ESPN.com today. He's just not ready, according to all the league GMs and people observing him. Here's the bigger story that if they're going to do. Will he ever be ready?
Yeah.
He's in the league for one reason, and we all know it.
No, you are right, and it was cool seeing him and LeBron out there for the preseason game. But
it better be worth it.
It better be, and you're not going to see him. I don't think in many more opportunities like that with his father this year. I think once G League starts, he's going to be stuck in the G League and under strict developmental plans. Where are you beaming tonight?
Petco Park, San Diego, for the game that will decide this best-of-5 series. The winner tonight goes up 2-1. I don't think either team can sweep if they fall down 2-1 and close it out winning at 3-2. Tonight's it. Michael King for San Diego against Walker Buehler for L.A. Michael King 1-0 in the playoffs, just won last week. Buehler 3-3 all-time in his career in the postseason.
Yeah, it should be a really fun one. We've got a good one going on right now in New York, and hopefully
base runners everywhere for the Mets.
Oh no, you're right about that, and hopefully that second one can live up to the same excitement. But how about being me tonight to Salt Lake City, the first game for the Utah Hockey Club? I'm still not happy that they're in Utah, but we'll beam there and see what the
didn't work in
inaugural
Phoenix,
game.
did it?
No, it did not, and
they had more bankruptcies than playoff appearances, didn't they? In Phoenix,
they sure did.
I'm serious.
No, yeah,
I think so.
You're right, and I mean it just didn't work anywhere. They tried multiple places. They were in Tempe the last 2 years trying to work something out for a new stadium, and just couldn't get anything going. And so now in Utah, and we'll see if it works out there.
The league stuck with that number of teams, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They weren't going to just collapse the team. We'll watch the end of this Phillies at Citi Field against the Mets game. College football, 2-3 FIU at unbeaten Liberty. I mentioned earlier, Liberty hadn't played since September 21st when they defeated East Carolina 35-24. Boise State's in cruise to get that Group of 5 playoff spot. They are the media darlings. And they've been since that play against Oklahoma.
No, they absolutely have, and what they're doing now with Ashton Genty doing what he's doing at the running back position. Yeah, they're the clear favorite right now for that spot. But that Liberty note you gave me earlier about how long they've been sitting at home, it's
a long time.
It's a really long time. We'll see tonight if what they do, if they can win comfortably against FIU, or if
force out at home for the Mets.
Okay.
Bases loaded, one out.
How about that? All right, so we'll see if the Mets can drive and run. I was wondering, I don't have a good view of it. I couldn't tell what actually happened on that play, but okay, a force out at home for them. That was Sosa, our old buddy for the Cardinals. How about that?
Cardinals everywhere.
Cardinals everywhere. Just not,
pitching, playing.
Just no Cardinals.
Managing, shield.
That's right.
Just not for St. Louis.
Exactly. Wow, how about that? Well, that's all the time we have today. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.